Welcome to episode 127 of the Reptile Gumbo podcast. So we're episode 127, and then I listened to NPR's 500th episode the other day, and I'm like, damn, that's a long fucking time to do a podcast.
Is that what you're striving for?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll make 500.
Okay.
That's 10 years.
I know.
That's 10 years of them doing a podcast.
That's awesome.
What I need to do is we need to double up on some weeks so I can get ahead of Herpeticulture podcast.
Absolutely not.
We'll do several recordings at reptile shows, and I can put that.
Those are for weeks off.
I need to get ahead of them, damn it.
No,
And
They
you
started
do need to
shortly
turn
ahead of
my
us.
headphones up just a smidge.
You keep telling me to turn them down.
Thank you.
Is that good?
Yeah, I can hear a little bit.
Actually, that's not your mic. That's not your headphones. That's not going to do anything.
Oh.
Is that better now?
Yeah, I can.
Yep. Nope. Maybe.
Sure, we'll leave it at that.
Okay.
The name of the show we were talking about was Brockmire, by the way.
Brockmire. That's the show that Hank is. Okay. That was an off.
We were having
Sorry.
a discussion.
I was late coming upstairs because Quigley Down Under was on TV, and you just have to watch the scene at the very end.
I got invited to record a podcast with a famous person not related to reptiles.
But when it happens, we'll talk about it on here.
Who does the voice of a very famous character on a show that's been on for a long time.
Yeah.
And so we kind of went into talking about Hank Azaria and how many voices he does. Shit, I might have just given it away.
It's fine. We'll talk.
We'll talk about it.
When it happens, we'll talk about it. Katie's not ready to do our sponsors because she's just sitting there staring at the screen like nothing's happening.
But if you were
I forgot my
looking,
laptop tonight.
It means you're going to be part of the conversation.
that's what you think. Oh, goodness. If you are looking for a high quality PVC rack, look no further than Lone Star Reptile Racks. They offer a variety of sizes.
By the way, that whole first sentence and a half was her still looking for it. She just memorized.
It's been a really long time since I opened it in my notes. So
I was watching her.
Down
I was watching her
list.
still looking for it as she was saying it. I was like,
Sorry, Robert. They offer a variety of sizes for all types of snakes, geckos, rats, and more. You can even order something custom. Shipping is available, or you can plan to pick up at a Herps Reptile show near you. Visit ellisreptileracks.com to reach out to Lone Star Reptile Racks and place your order today.
yes. And speaking of shows,
Sorry.
we got something coming up.
We do.
This weekend is the Corpus Christi show, August 13th and 14th. Come on down to the Corpus Christi show, hang out at the beach, go to the Reptile show. We will be set up there as the Reptile Gumbo podcast. I do have to say thank you to our Patreon members. And if you're out there and you want to throw us an extra like $5 a month just to help us out, because I still want to buy more cameras and other stuff, and we're teachers and we don't make that kind of money. Our Patreons bought us a banner. They don't know that. They now know that. But our Patreons paid for our new banner that we're going to have set up at the show in Corpus Christi. And then the following weekend, August 20th and 21st at Bryan College Station. Since we're doing both those shows with the podcast, we'll have the banners and we'll post those pictures with the banner and everything. It's all nice looking. So thank you, Patreon. What are you doing?
I was plugging my computer in.
God, just unprofessional.
Sorry.
And then August 27th, 28th is the Austin, Texas show. September 10th and 11th is the Conroe show. That's always a good one. The September Conroe is usually people have babies to sell. And
I think New Orleans is right after that.
New Orleans is September 17th and 18th.
Y'all coming?
We are not, but that's the weekend of the adults only night at the zoo. And I was thinking about going to that. So that's why I know that date.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I was going to invite your wife. but she will not be
Then you can
here.
go be a wacko in Waco on October 15th and 16th. And
we miss everything now.
I know. It's okay.
And then I'm not talking to school. And then Lafayette, Louisiana is November 5th and 6th. So, positive thing is they're building a Billy's. For those that don't actually know what a Billy's is, it's to me the second best boudin you can buy. But they're building Billy's.
They're not building
It's
Billy's.
not Billy's.
They're building a best stop.
Shit, it's a best stop. Billy's is the best. They're building a best stop in Katy and the Woodlands.
And in New Braunfels.
That's farther away though, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's right.
Yeah.
That's like 5 minutes from the shirts show when we do that show.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
If you haven't had a boudin ball with either pepper jack cheese in it or cream cheese,
I like cream cheese better.
and if you don't know what boudin is, you're in the north. I can't help you.
I like their cracklings too.
Oh, cracklins are good too.
That's where I spend all my money.
Especially when you get them
The
right when they
chicken
take them out and
cracklins
they're
are
hot.
good.
Oh God.
Chicken cracklins are
The
good.
chicken cracklins are good. I was skeptical, but it's like the crispy. Oh my gosh.
I know. My problem was I was excited. In my brain, I was excited for Billy's, and then I realized
What
not
I would
Billy's.
like to see is me and Katie both going.
It's not Billy's.
Yeah.
What?
It's Best Stop.
If you can't see the chat, his dad was like, "How could you fuck that up? Come on now."
So if you're from Louisiana, there's two great boudin places. It's Billy's and Best Stop. They're both around Lafayette, Louisiana, and I like Billy's better. But we're getting a best stop, which means I can get actual boudin over here.
That is exciting.
And if someone's like, it's just sausage.
There's a really
fuck
cool
you.
Lego
No.
store in Katy that
That is true. We go there, get
just make a
Legos
day out of it.
and some boudin. So super excited. Now I just need to try and get some Kaneka sausage over here.
Oh God.
That shit's good. This is turned back into a food podcast. Anyways,
I
November
already ate dinner.
November 12th and 13th is the Pearland show, and again, that's one where we get to sleep in our own beds. What I'm gonna try and say canal side exotics. See, I said it. I said it. Said I know what it is, but all we got is some fake ass Southern food up north. Yeah,
Okay.
that's like whenever I see over here, I see Cajun restaurants. I'm like, mm-mm. I mean, I get that we're close to Louisiana.
Best stop ships all over the country. Just
That's
so
true.
you know.
That is true.
I think Billy's probably does too.
I'm sure they do.
You can get you some boudin all over the
We have a
country.
lot. So
Air fryer. That's what
you know
need,
the
an air
Golden
fryer.
Triangle, which is Beaumont, Port Arthur, Orange. Those are basically Cajuns.
Yes.
I mean, they're
and the food there
yes.
Yes,
is
but Houston is not.
equivalent to
You-
what you would
You
find in
can
Louisiana. in my
occasionally
opinion.
find a transplant that has opened a restaurant.
I was just
here.
That
about
is
to
how we
say
found
that's how I
crawfish.
found my crawfish truck
Because he's from Bow Bridge, which is
yeah.
good.
they have a
ass food.
crawfish
Don't get much more
festival.
Cajun than
So
that.
I mean,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Texas does not do Cajun food very well. But also, we have a giveaway this month. We didn't have one last week, but we have one now thanks
have
to
one now.
Colossal Constrictors. Colossal Constrictors stepped up and they are going to give away a set of Redline science products. So the scrapers, if you haven't used them, I use them in my collection. My dad said I'll trade,
I'm texting him now.
trade Kaneka for some boudin. Anyways, it's got the tub scrapers and the cage scrapers. I know that sounds like something not to get excited about, but I bought them and they work great. Also, a set of hemostats will come with that too. So all you got to go do is go over to our Facebook page. You'll see it pinned at the top, and you just need to tell us what is your favorite item that you use in your reptile room, and you're in here for the giveaway at the end of the month. And then at the end of the month, we're going to have them on, and they're buying us food.
Yeah.
I'm just telling
They
you.
are. It was the sweetest
Folks, yeah,
message.
the folks over at Colossal Constrictors, they reached out. Like, they wanted to buy us because we're always like, we got to go eat as soon as we get off of here. But they want to buy us pizza, and I don't think I've ever turned down pizza. So now I just got to wait to get to the end of the month, and
That's right.
I get to have pizza.
Which will be great because normally for teachers, the first paycheck after school starts is super tight. So we're eating like ramen and PB&J because we've spent all our extra money on stuff for our classrooms.
I still got to buy
Sad that
shoes.
y'all have to do that.
Oh,
I need to buy shoes.
I just went and bought foam
So-
at Michael's.
Ryan McVeigh posted earlier a picture of Phil Goss.
I saw that. Looked like
Next to
Archer.
Archer. And now Dave
I can't
Hoffman
unsee
said, I
that.
can't unsee it.
I can't
He'll
unsee
always be
that.
Archer from now on.
100%.
Darren Watson. All right. So Darren's asking. We're gonna get to our guest in a second, but he's asking favorite pizza
Well,
topping.
why don't you bring our guest in and then he can also
Okay,
answer the
okay, okay.
question.
I'll get to our guest, and then
Because we can go, Florida man says.
That's right.
guest is Derek Dykstra from Apex
What's up, y'all?
Arboreals. How's it going, Derek?
Pretty good. How y'all doing?
Good. I'm going back to see anal side exotics. Don't fucking say pineapple. Don't say pineapple. But I used to ask Joe when he had From the Ground Up, when they would ask questions from the people when they were doing the live chats. I was always like, ask them what their favorite pizza topping is, and every now and then they'd ask their guests. But it's pepperoni.
Yeah, for me too.
I mean, you can like other stuff,
I
but
like pepperoni, regular bacon, and feta.
yeah, you have to say regular bacon because
Yes.
Canadian bacon is just
Respectable.
fucking ham.
I like the Alfredo sauce
Mm-hmm.
and I like Philly steak with feta
I can do that.
and spinach.
Feta just gives it that nice saltiness, and
I like
it's so good.
spinach with
Ah,
mine.
we've 100% been a food podcast so far.
Yeah.
I like it.
And I already ate
We need
dinner.
to start a food
Woo!
podcast. Jeez.
No pineapple though. See anal
James, on the
side.
other hand,
So I will
Bending for
occasionally
himself.
throw a little pineapple on a pizza.
Robert, get the fuck
but
outta
not with tomato sauce. don't
I
like it with
worked at a pizza place in
Too
high
much acid.
school, and I was like, I need to see what all this fuss is.
I'd
And
like
I used fake bacon, and I used the pineapple and
fake bacon.
well,
Canadian.
bacon.
That's not. It's ham.
I know, but
Ham.
I use that with
Even
the
Canadians
pineapple.
don't
and
call it
I
bacon.
really liked it. I really did.
Derek,
like
what's your
it.
favorite pizza topping?
All right. So if I'm getting a pizza, my go-to is usually going to be topped with mushrooms and onions. That's
What?
it.
Fucking-
You lost
the
me in
go-to.
Fungus.
mushroom.
Don't put fungus on your food.
You lost
Oh.
me.
And I'd say I normally say no fruit on pizza, but So we went to I love CC's. I don't care. Everybody's like, but CC's
Oh,
pizza, shit. It may be shit, but I can eat a ton of it. So fuck off.
Exactly.
Our
I
daughter,
love their Alfredo and spinach pizza.
Their
that's
apple
my favorite
crumble
too.
pizza, their dessert pizza is the shit.
he has been wanting CC's for almost 2 weeks, and our kid finally came home, and he was like, Joe, do you want to go to CC's? And she was like, I'm fine with pizza rolls at the house.
I was like, we don't have any pizza rolls. You want to see?
I said, Joe, Daddy's wanted CC's, and he knows you'll say yes.
You know, there used to be a one right by Walmart.
Uh-huh.
Well, there also used to be one down towards
Was so funny.
the other direction, but they closed that one too.
Yeah.
Now I have to drive to the other.
Go-
I have to drive to the other side of Pearland, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's still like 20 minutes to get to the
Yeah.
other side. of Pearland.
Everything is 20 minutes from our house. Just get used to it.
It really is.
Yep.
What is
I don't know
C
what-
anal side? No, P meal bacon.
what is
I'm gonna
penal
assume they
bacon?
had a stroke, or maybe that anal side is.
Oh, that's a real thing. P-meal bacon.
Yeah,
I
it's an
googled
actual
it.
thing.
It's
P-meal?
wet, cured, unsmoked back bacon.
That sounds fucking horrible.
What?
We call
Made
it
from
buckboard bacon too.
Trimmed, lean, boneless pork loin.
Yeah, it's from
Rolled in cornmeal.
But that's not bacon. That's
It's found mainly in Ontario. So
Fucking
the
Canadian.
Canadian bacon that you're actually getting up there is not the same Canadian bacon that we're
like
getting
I
down
actually
here.
I've made Canadian bacon, like got the pork loin.
This
and
is like legit
Sure.
Canadian bacon.
down here.
smoked
It's like
it.
deli meat ham on shit. That's
Yeah.
Canadian bacon.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like see, there's like no, I'm
Yeah.
not eating that.
at God, what's
Yeah,
it called?
this
Mod.
actually looks
Mod.
really good.
Mod Pizza's Canadian bacon is good.
The problem is
It's
you
like-
started describing that bacon as wet.
It's
I
because
think-
it's wet cured,
Yeah, it just
not dry
Well,
cured.
like when I got brisket for lunch today, I told them I wanted moist brisket because
Wow.
that's the cut that I want.
yeah, you want more fat in it. It has
It's
better flavor.
legit.
nice and moist.
Yeah.
Moist.
Shut up.
At some point, we're gonna talk about reptiles. I promise. But
Oh.
right now, we're talking about bacon.
I was more excited when y'all were talking about boudin and cracklins and Kaneka.
Now the great thing
God, I
about
miss
like
Kaneka
for those
sausage
up
so
north,
I've
bad.
never had it. I'm gonna have to get some.
it's
So
good.
I grew up in Alabama on
It's
the
from-
coast, and that's
Right.
where it's from.
the
And so
Connecticut
that's
River.
all that my dad would cook with at all.
Yeah.
The river that we used to do a lot of our studies on for my ecology class was the Connecticut River, and I was
Yeah.
like,
Nice.
We
I knew
have-
how to pronounce it because I
there's
knew I ate the sausage.
one grocery store in Alexandria, Louisiana that carries it. And when I just had a craving, I would go to that grocery store just to buy Kaneka sausage.
I need to put out a warning to our northern fans. Don't look up what's in boudin. Just eat
Oh,
it.
don't do
Yeah.
it.
No.
Don't do it to yourself.
Just eat it.
I remember one time on Duck Dynasty, they had a boudin truck that they made, and they're driving around, and some kids are like, "What is that?" And Phil's like, "It's some hog guts with some liver and some onions in it, and rice. Just get it."
So I had
Just don't do
Oh
it.
man.
for those that aren't from Louisiana, every town has a festival. Every town.
Mhm.
It's not even making that. There's
Let's put it this
you'd be
way.
amazed.
There were 64 kids in my child's third grade class, like group of classes. Every one of them did a different project on a different festival.
Yeah, no one
Nobody
repeated.
had to double up.
So we had one. It was either the Strawberry Festival or the Pie. It was the Pie Festival.
It was we were very disappointed in the pie.
Yeah, it was a letdown. But I bought a boudin ball there, and the problem I
I'm
know what's in boudin,
Sure.
but I like for the person making it to properly know how to use a grinder.
You can also watch them
They
make a
rough
hot
chopped
dog.
it.
There was
Mhm.
like a vein, like an artery, like I could see tubing inside of my boudin ball. I'm like, no.
I would have eaten it, but yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
I already eaten half of it. And I think, oh my god.
Got to see it through. Come on.
But I'll also eat tripas and noodles. So
Oh,
Yeah.
so my I swear we're getting to reptiles at some point. But
At some
Menudo,
point.
my dad's in the thing. So he still lives
He
in
might
North
still
Alabama
be
now.
there. I don't know. If he
And
is
we
or
went
not.
to a Mexican restaurant up there, and like it's one of those where the whole menu's in Spanish, and no one there speaks English except for like one person
Mhm.
broken English. And the woman comes to take the order, and my dad's like, "I think I want to try menudo." And she goes, "Let me bring you a sample." And so she got him a sample, and he tastes like, "Never mind, I don't want that." Nope. So I can only imagine that this woman's had so many white guys come in there, and go, "I want menudo," and they're
No,
like,
you don't.
"Oh God." My dad fuck a bunch of Mexican flavored ass.
yeah,
It's not, if you want to try menudo, that's another one. Don't look up the ingredients.
Nope.
Just go try it, I guess.
and you kind of have to eat it without looking at it.
Bleh, I can't. I can't.
It's also shit colored too. It's just,
Oh.
but it's I also get like when you go to Walmart and you see like tripe
Oh
for sale there. I'm like, who looked at that and went, "Yep, gonna eat
Gonna
that."
eat it. Yep.
Sweetbreads.
Ugh.
Yeah.
That's a misleading.
Yes.
Sweetbreads is always such a misleading thing. 'Cause
Right.
it sounds
It's not sweet
great.
or bread.
I mean, mountain oysters are the same thing. They
No.
ain't
Yeah,
oysters.
yeah.
But
You're right
oysters
about
are the.
that.
I
You
always
shut your mouth
whoever
and
first
you watch what you say.
whoever first ate an oyster had to be the hungriest motherfucker because there's no way they opened that and went, "Oh God, that looks good."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's true.
That's fair.
I hope it has some sand in it.
A little bit of grit.
Yeah.
Oh, this textured snot is so good. Can't wait to get some more textured snot out of the
Oh,
Throw them on the
God.
fire and see what happens. Oh, like curl up a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's put some butter and some
Batter
garlic
those
on there.
babies up
Some
and
hot
deep
sauce.
fry 'em.
Yeah.
Now I'm hungry.
No
So,
kidding.
Darren Watson. People say that all the time
You
about
like
chicken,
chicken
feet.
feet.
I fucking love. If you go to a dim sum restaurant and order the chicken feet, I promise you will not be disappointed.
So I
will not be ordering them, but it's cool.
vividly remember being 7 years
Really?
old at the grocery store with my mom and my grandmother, and there were chicken feet and pig's feet like on the shelf, and I, being the fabulous 7-year-old that I was, because I am not at all where my daughter gets her smart ass attitude from, looked at my grandmother and I'm like, "Did they just use every part of these animals?" And she's like, "Yeah."
Yep.
So she starts naming all these.
You can buy a
things
bucket of chitlins.
with, from
get that
the
at H-E-B.
pig that they use. And I was convinced that I had stumped her. And I was like, "Oh yeah, what do they do with the teeth?" Without hesitating, that woman said to me, "Well, they make jewelry out of it." And I don't know if she was telling me the truth or not, but to this day,
Fuck, you're talking about a culture down here that makes
No.
jewelry out of
No.
raccoon penises.
no.
I mean, yeah.
If anybody buys me
Yeah.
jewelry made out of pig's teeth, I am cutting you off from my life for the rest of these days.
Like, let's see what Amazon's got.
Etsy real quick.
So
Like,
those chicken feet at a dim sum restaurant, they're boiled, fried.
Oh, I bet
And-
those are
And then they're
good.
dipped in this very flavorful like sauce.
Yeah.
And when you eat them, they just melt.
Yeah.
The,
Yeah.
the nails and everything are they're just, and the flavor is
We will take you
ridiculous.
one night
Yeah.
because I want to try them.
Yeah.
And then
Fucking
if I don't
horrible.
like them, you can just finish
They
them.
just walk through shit all day long. No.
They clean it before they cook it.
See, like pig feet.
Chris Eaton, okay.
Pig feet.
What do you think's in the casing of sausage?
I bet you
Yeah.
Chris is just gonna like fast forward through this whole this whole part of our conversation. Like, what the fuck
See,
is wrong
pig's
with
feet
you
doesn't shock me
people?
because you can go to any like super small country gas station on like gravel road and find a jar of pig's feet on the shelf and you can buy one pig's foot out of it and eat it.
Mhm.
Like I remember growing up and going across the street from my grandmother's house and they had
You
pickled pig's
also
feet,
eat
pickled eggs.
boiled
the hot pickled
peanuts.
sausage.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Boiled
Boiled-
peanuts are amazing. You shut your
boiled
fucking mouth.
Tastes
Oh.
like snot.
Come on, I grew up in the
Bleh.
peanut capital of Florida. That's
I went to high school in the
Sacrilegious.
peanut capital of Alabama. They have the National Peanut Festival.
Yeah.
Yep. Will's
We call them
Peanut
goobers
Festival
here.
every year.
Oh, the problem is you can't go to see. This is where people don't like boiled peanuts. They go to a gas station and they get them out of
Oh,
that
yeah.
metal tin.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's not
Oh,
fucking boiled peanut. It needs to be
no.
from some old dude on the side of the road.
There's a pig
That's
tooth
it.
necklace.
That's
Oh,
it.
Fuck, on
It's on
Etsy.
Etsy.
Of course it's on
Etsy Pig
Etsy.
Tooth Network.
Let me.
course.
Oh, I'm gonna
Um,
Google it.
I
God.
just watched a video yesterday of some
crazy.
coon ass boiling peanuts. It looks
I've
pretty damn
looked
good.
up
Oh, boiled peanuts are
multiple-
fucking awesome.
He
I've
put
looked
celery
up.
in it.
So good.
What?
the hell?
Stalks of celery in it. when you boil it.
Nah.
No,
No.
no.
Yeah.
I've looked up a handful of recipes to make for him, just because I know he likes them.
Yeah, but if you're not some
Oh my
old dude on the
God.
side of a
I don't know
highway,
if
they're
it
not going to be
would
good.
work.
The
All
other thing, this again has nothing to do, but I just brought it up. So we're always talking about things like prices changing and inflation and all this. There is one thing on earth that is inflation proof. It is jumbo shrimp on the side of the road in Louisiana. It is $5.95 a pound, no matter where you go.
Fantastic.
All of a sudden, every sign is a spray painted sign on the side of the road. It's $5.95 a
That's
pound.
because Boudreaux caught it in his cast net 15 minutes ago.
Legit.
It was $5.95 a pound when gas was $1.50. It was $5.95 a pound when gas was
He
$4.50.
was out there in this P-row,
Inflation proof.
didn't have to burn no gas because did a P-row.
Nope. Nope.
using a cast net.
Just threw a rope around an alligator and pulled himself through the swamp.
Yeah.
That's how they do it.
That's right.
There you go.
All right, we should probably get into talk about reptiles at some point. I said alligator. That counts,
Hey,
right?
we're the
Yeah,
reptile
there you go. It's a
Gumbo.
transition.
Gumbo podcast.
Yeah.
We can talk about,
We're talking about the food part.
legit food
That's
for a
it.
minute.
That's it.
So that's like, okay, so let's go to Florida. We've talked about Texas is known for barbecue,
Mhm.
right? Louisiana is known for Cajun food. The fuck is Florida known for?
Oranges.
Yeah.
Depends on what
Peanuts.
part of Florida.
Penis? Yes. I definitely think Florida's known for penis.
I didn't alliterate there very well. The center part of Florida is known for racehorses.
I mean, I
Wait,
guess.
yeah.
Are they eating the race horse?
I mean, somebody probably does.
Been to some questionable places. They might be.
Yeah.
Nothing goes to waste.
This is true. I would imagine, depending on the part of seafood or the part of Florida, they're known for seafood.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
but then you get places
stuff
like-
and it's conch, you get conch
Yeah.
fritters and
Conch,
conch.
scallops.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you get to places like
And
Tallahassee
then
and
Miami is
Jacksonville.
its own
and-
thing.
Miami
Miami
is like
is
New
its-
Orleans.
Miami is Cuba.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
It's
really
North
part
Cuba.
of Florida.
No, and North Florida's just South Georgia, for being
Yeah.
honest. So,
Yeah.
See, and I always grew up calling it LA as Lower Alabama when you get to the Panhandle.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
What part of Florida are you in, Derek?
I am in northern Florida. I'm like directly in between Gainesville and Jacksonville in a real small town.
Is that near Ocala?
It's not, but I did grow up near Ocala, like
So we actually
30
just
minutes
watched.
up the road.
We just watched a cooking show with a guy from Ocala.
Yeah, he won. It was that barbecuing show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was so excited. I was a little sad, but like the guy from Houston, no way. Like I was excited for him, but I'm like, he doesn't have what it
Because
takes
Houston
to go all the
isn't
way.
barbecue. You have to go farther west.
Well, but he had
There's
like
some
an
pretty goddamn good
he was
barbecue
like
places
an
here in Houston.
Asian
I haven't found them
barbecue
yet.
fusion
yeah, that's
thing.
not no. That's
All right,
But
I'm
I'm-
gonna take you to Pinkertons.
Yeah, I
I
am
still wanna go-
excited about. Like,
okay, I don't know
he's
how
building
great it
a-
is, but Killen's always has a giant line.
It's good.
I need to go to Killen.
Yeah, I was
Especially if you
pretty
like the
pumped
big
about the
dino
guy from
beef ribs.
Ocala that won though.
Yeah, that was awesome. I haven't had his food, but my mom and sister would eat at his food truck pretty regularly.
Nice.
Yeah,
I-
that's pretty neat.
The one thing my dad enjoyed when he came to visit was the taco trucks. Like you could try a different taco truck every day.
Every day.
Although he found one that he liked, and I think he just
No,
kept
he
going
went-
back
no.
to that one.
No, he went to different ones.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, all right. So, anyways, back to reptiles.
Did we even finish our sponsors?
Wiregrass Exotics, guys. Wiregrass Exotics, our friends over in Ozark.
So bad.
Go Wiregrass Exotics in Ozark, Alabama, for all your feeder needs and reptile needs. And then, and if you want 15% off on your VivTech UVB LED bulbs, use code Gumbo22, all one word, Gumbo22, and it gets you 15% off an amazing LED UVB bulb. Unless you talk to dumbasses on the internet who don't know what they're talking about.
Oh, there's plenty of them.
Yes. So, now I think we're good. All right. So we had Derek on before to talk about rattlesnakes, which is not what we're talking about now. Right. So
Nah,
What-
we don't have to unless y'all want to.
no, we got plenty of
Talk
other
about
stuff.
whatever you want.
I want to get to. We're obviously going to get to legislation stuff because he's in Florida and that place is
Yes.
a nightmare. Although,
Yeah.
again, small victories right now. But
Yes.
let's go with what do you have in your collection right now, Derek?
Yeah, so it's fairly diverse for the most part. I do keep venomous and non-venomous snakes, so I'll start off with the non-venomous stuff. Right now, it's pretty much North American rat snakes and water snakes. So I've got some locality water snakes, all species that are native to Florida. And then as far as rat snakes go, pretty much also focus on stuff you can find in Florida. So Everglades, Gulf hammock, white oak, some locality red rats. I've got some Baird's rat snakes, Trans-Pecos rat snakes, and that's kind of
Nice.
my side little passion projects. I do also have a fairly sizable venomous collection as well. It's mostly rattlesnakes and arboreal vipers. I'm really trying to focus on the emerald horned pit vipers. They're my favorite. I've got a group of 6 of them that I've been working with trying to raise up and get established. But aside from that, I've got Arizona black rattlesnakes, Mexican dusky rattlesnakes. I've got some bothrops. That pretty much sums it up. A lot of
On
new
your-
world stuff.
On your subox, are you breeding them?
Not yet. The plan is to do it eventually. I have a hard time tracking down a female. Apparently in Florida and in the Southeast in general, it's hard to find female subox or subox in general. But
I'll get you one tomorrow.
let's make it happen.
I've got
Okay.
one in my snake room I could send you.
So
Perfect.
I just Googled the Arizona black rattlesnake because James makes fun of me,
Oh.
but I'm mildly obsessed with like black or white snakes.
Mhm.
Yes.
It is wicked looking.
Yeah.
Wicked.
Like-
I love
There's
them.
15 species of rattlesnake
Nice.
in Arizona. I
Yep.
think it's 15, right, Derek?
Yeah.
And,
That is cool looking.
awesome.
And there's like 12 of them that only exist in Florida. I mean, in Arizona.
Yeah, that
For the
sounds
most
about
part.
right. Yeah.
And there's a
Yeah,
lot
no-
of pretty ones, like some of the rock rattlesnakes. But I mean,
Oh,
you
gorgeous.
still live in the state with my favorite rattlesnake,
This black-tailed
and that's
rattlesnake is
the Eastern
pretty cool.
Diamondback. Like
Perfect. Yes, I love Eastern Diamondbacks. They were really what got me into venomous keeping was having those interactions with some Eastern Diamondbacks. It really that's what sparked it for me. And I've got a big female down here with me that I'm super thrilled to have. But she will be go on display at Reptile Preservation Institute here in a couple months. So
Nice.
I'm thrilled about that too. Yeah.
That's Cody and Pia's place, right?
Correct. Yeah. That's Cody and Pia. They're like 15 minutes down the road from me. So it works out pretty nice.
Oh, well.
So that means you also live in the middle of fucking nowhere, because I've been
That's
to Cody
it.
and Pia's.
Yes. Bumfuck nowhere, man.
And it is, oh my God, it's literally turned off paved road and hope you don't get stuck in the sand.
It's
Yep.
Sounds like somewhere I would love to live.
Oh my
They
god.
you
it's
would love it
nice.
out there. It's,
You really would, yeah. That
My
Airbnb
in-laws-
that we stayed at when we went.
yeah, we stayed like on a lake at an Airbnb one.
Nice.
Amazing.
My in-laws just bought a place up on a lake here, and we went up there Saturday to help them move some stuff because they actually officially moved today.
Oh.
But we helped them take like a lot of their breakable stuff that they didn't want the movers to move, and that's the second time I've been up there now, and I'm sold. That little town has like everything you need. It's 20 minutes to like Walmart or HEB, and
So like, Derek and Cody and Pia, they live in what you picture when, if you're a reptile person, you would love. It's like loose sand and pine. Like you're going to go find rattlesnakes and rat snakes, and it's going to be
Sand Hills is
Indigos.
nice. A lot of pine flatwoods, Florida
Yeah.
pine
Awesome.
snakes. Yeah, it's all. I think the population of the town is like 1,400 people.
us. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sold.
With that said, don't try and have Cody and Pia on a podcast because they have no fucking internet.
Right.
I
It's
wanted to,
awful.
I was gonna say, if I remember correctly, they were like in their truck, like on the side of the
No,
road.
that was
Was that
Derek.
you?
Derek.
Oh, that was last time I was on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Derek.
I was like, we had somebody on that was
Yeah, Derek.
He had to go drive down the road
I
to
do
get
remember
enough
that,
service.
yeah.
To,
God, that was a nightmare. Our internet went out, and I was like, oh, of course it would be tonight of all nights.
But it's really a good location, other than like hurricane season. It's really a good location because
Yeah,
you're not that far from St. Augustine, because we drove up there and went to St. Augustine.
Yep,
and
it's nice.
So, but yeah, Eastern Diamondbacks by far, like there's nothing more impressive to me than a 6 or 7 foot Eastern Diamondback rattlesnake with a massive head and
Oh yeah.
thick body. We, like I said, when I worked at the zoo, we had one that was probably about 7 foot and almost as big around as a 2-liter Coke bottle.
Oh yeah, they're incredible. There's one down at the Orion Center. Edgar, he's amelanistic, and
Oh, cool.
he's like 7 foot 3 inches, 19 pounds, just massive.
Yeah, it's a hell of a snake. It's so cool. But so rat snakes, that's North American rat snakes are an interesting one because for us over here, when we think rat snake, we think like Texas rats, Russian rats, or we think, red rats, corn snakes.
Yeah.
But there's so many, like Baird's rats don't remind me of, they don't act like a rat snake. They're not a rat snake. Like they are,
Yeah.
but they're not what you think of when you think of a rat snake.
Mhm.
Transpecos really kind of, they're not really what you think of when we think of a rat snake, and they're really
Yeah.
cool looking.
They got the big
Yeah,
eyes,
they're
but they're nocturnal in there.
Yep.
They generally don't bite. I mean,
Oh, super laid back. I've never met a mean
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Well, then there's one that like no one ever talks about because no one apparently can do them, but that's the green rat snakes.
I've got a male. He is
Do you?
fantastic. Yeah. He's very flighty. I've had him for a couple of years now. Getting him established was a pain. I got him on a really good deal because he's supposed to be captive hatched, but he couldn't eat for the guy that had him, so he shipped him to me. I had to assist feed him mouse tails for a long time, and he finally just started drop feeding for me, and he's been doing awesome. And I was hoping to get a female for him, but Lord, I didn't realize how expensive them things were. Every time a female pops up, it's like $1,000, and I can't do that on a rat snake.
The
No.
first time I saw them, I was like, how is this not a thing in the hobby? We have
Yeah,
a
they're
green
so
snake
cool.
and no one like owns them.
Yep.
But then I heard they were kind of hard to get started and they don't always want to eat for you. And
Yeah, that was really the first experience I had with owning a snake that was a difficult eater, and it was definitely a learning curve. But he pulled through, and he's doing good now.
then like I said, they're green. Every picture I've ever seen, they are a pretty green color. They're farther out west, right?
Yeah, out in like Arizona.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I like, again, my only problem with colubrids is they just shit so much. Speaking of colubrids, so the other day I had Katie boil some eggs for my redfoot tortoises because we need to give them some protein. For anybody that owns redfoots, you'll know they need protein. And so we feed them that, and we'll feed them like pinkies every now and then, or mushrooms is another one I've seen you can do.
Mhm.
I was like, man, I've got these boiled eggs, and there's always people like Crebos and stuff talking about feeding eggs to their Crebos and all this. I'm like,
Yeah.
what do I have? What's the most Crebo thing I have? I was like, I've got a Louisiana pine snake. We can try that.
There you go.
And did. It took them right off the tongs.
Oh, that's cool.
funny.
Took 2 chunks of egg off the tongs. I was like, that's the weirdest thing, feeding a fucking egg.
Nice.
Well, it's funny because this snake, when it gets into food mode, like it will go after your face. It's super calm to hold, but man, it has got the best feed response.
Mhm.
So I was like, oh shit, this thing's gonna try to eat me as soon as I put food in front of it. And I had it on the tongs, and it just like opened its mouth and started chewing away on the egg and eating the egg. So
That's awesome.
It's got that Pituophis food response.
yeah,
Yeah,
They all do.
definitely.
they're
Yeah.
great. Except unlike bull snakes, this one calms down afterwards.
Yeah. Some bull snakes do.
I can't do bull snakes. I also can't do locale stuff. And there's like 5 million locales,
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
so you do locale water snakes.
Yeah, so all of my Florida stuff is locality specific. So I've got, I'm trying to focus on stuff that's from the county I grew up in, which is Levy County on the Gulf Coast. So I've got some Levy County Gulf salt marsh snakes. I've got some Levy County red rats, Levy County Gulf hammock rat snakes. But my other waters are Escambia County Southerns and Dixie County Florida banded, because Dixie's not that far. I spent a long time up there too, but I'm really enjoying keeping the water snakes. It's something that I've kind of gotten back into because I kept them a couple years ago, but apparently I found out I was doing it horribly wrong. Care and maintenance is not what I was doing a couple years ago when it was like super wet all the time, large, it was like half land, half water exhibit, and it just wasn't working out. So I ended up getting out of Nerodia, and then I started listening to podcasts and talking to people, and come to find out you keep them really similar to rat snakes, and it works out really well.
I remember doing a reptile show once, and this girl, I was selling Sambos, and she wanted to buy Sambo, and she was young. She was probably what Joe's 11 now, so she was probably around 11 or 12. And I was like, do you know have you ever looked at had a snake, this or that? And she goes, oh yeah, I've got a banded water snake at home. And I was like, really?
Nice.
And then she showed me a video like this super calm baby banded water snake that she holds. It doesn't bite. And I'm like, yeah, you can totally do a Sambo. You're good.
Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, I get that the care is completely different, but if you can do that and calm that thing down, you're great.
Yeah.
Oh
you're
yeah,
good to go.
no doubt. Yeah, and I also really enjoy not having to feed rodents to everything in my collection, because golly, it's gotten expensive.
Oh
Yeah.
man, it is crazy now.
Yeah.
So I was looking at the Florida banded water snake. They're not as like red as like our banded water snake, our broadbands,
Right.
Mhm.
but it's still cool looking.
Well, our broadbands can run the gamut from turd brown to just flame orange.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of variability in the Florida stuff too. My Escambia County Southern Bandeds are like brick red. They're gorgeous. But the Florida Bandeds, it really all depends. You can have blacks, browns, like a rusty red coloration. There's some down in Sarasota County that are like really cool black with dark brick red banding. They're so variable.
Ooh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
they're real neat.
There was a lady in a snake ID group the other day that commented about a photo of a water moccasin that had kind of a crazy, like a kind of a weird pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, I just don't understand how 2 snakes that are in the same species can look so different. And I was like, all humans are Homo sapiens. And she was like, 100% understand your point. I get it now.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, because I've seen some like just straight black, and then I've seen some older ones that still have banding on them and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
when they were chasing me, because that's what water moccasins do, they chase you.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's what
they
the internet
chase
told
you.
me.
They fly into your boat out of, when they're done with their giant breeding balls.
Faster than a black mamba.
You fall into a nest of them.
That's right.
Yep, that's
Like
it.
that boy on Lonesome Dove.
It's amazing how one scene from a movie
Yep.
can ruin things for the rest of humanity.
So,
Oh,
there was
it's
a
nuts.
person the other day who swore, like she even posted a picture of Rick Schroeder getting bit in the face with a. She was like, "This is a real picture." I'm like, "That's Rick Schroeder. He's still alive." Look, he's like 50 years old, but he's still alive. That's not a real photo, lady. Yeah, she was
Blows
convinced
my
that
mind.
this photo she found on Google was really a young man being bitten by water moccasins in a ball.
Because that's how people search things.
Mhm.
They Google,
Yep.
and the first image that comes up is what they're going with. They're not going to
Yep.
click on it and see what it says,
Mhm.
Yeah.
or where it's from, but
Yep.
it's fact because it was on Google.
That's it. That's it.
I
Everything
told
on
her, I
the
was like,
internet's
if you,
true.
you trust Google
Yeah.
so much, Google Rick Schroeder. That's him. He's alive. I mean, he's still out there.
Oh,
funny.
dude, snake groups are so much fun. I do a lot of education and stuff out this way. I just did a class for some locals, and man, just the shit you see and hear that people believe and will argue.
Yes.
till
I used
they're
to get
blue
it
in
all
face.
the time at the zoo.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Like I said, there's a
Insane.
Tennessee one that Robert and I are in pretty much for just humor.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
it's-
oh yeah.
I did.
We had somebody in my neighborhood post a picture of a hole that was dug under their paving stones, like in their yard.
Mhm.
And she's like, "What could cause this? I just moved here. I'm a city girl. Blah blah blah." All these people are like, "Probably a snake. It's a snake." So I come and I'm like, "Which appendage is a snake digging this hole with?"
Now you say that.
Yeah, and
Have
we
you-
saw
have you-
that photo, that video.
I've seen snakes dig, but they're not digging one like that.
Not like
that's
this.
and
It's a cicada killer hole.
yeah.
Obviously, if you know
Oh,
what-
yeah.
Yeah, for those who don't know what a cicada, I keep like, I don't know, because one, we're around, people hear us around the world, which is just fucking weird in the first place, and then around the country because our country's so big. I don't know if people fully know what a cicada is because I don't think those are everywhere, right?
Mhm.
I mean, we have them in the South,
Mhm.
but so it's what we grew up calling a locust, which is not a locust, but and then a cicada killer is just a giant fucking like hornet.
It's like it's a type of a wasp.
Yeah, it's
and
a wasp.
But they dig these giant holes and they live in the ground. They'll come out and they'll go out and get cicadas. And we used to have them at the zoo and people would freak out. And I'm like, guys, they're not coming at you. You're good.
Yeah.
They don't
Mhm.
attack people.
They were
They'll grab
really
spiders too. And they'll
they
grab
were
Yeah.
really active in Kentucky this summer.
Were
The
they?
cicada killers.
Yeah.
Which I'm interested to see because Kentucky had all of that devastating rain and flooding. So I'm interested to see
Part of Kentucky.
Well,
Right.
Because our buddy Ryan
Derek-
Cox, I messaged him and he didn't have any of the rain.
That's right.
that one of the admins of the huge Florida Snake ID group
Mhm.
was giving someone advice the other night that they got bitten by a pygmy rattlesnake, and he said, "A dry bite is only if a little bit of venom's injected."
Oh,
And I'm like, "Dude, you're the fucking admin of this group. You should at least know."
Don't worry,
Dude.
baby. You're not going to get pregnant. I only had a little bit of
So
cum
I-
going
just a
on.
little bit, baby. That's it.
Just a little bit.
I,
Oh my
I
God. This
commented
is
and
why-
I was like, "Hey, it's not all your other stuff
Oh
is
my
good.
gosh.
Referring them to national snake bite, but a dry bite is a dry bite. It is a
Yeah,
It is a needle prick with nothing. I got a freaking 3-day ban for correcting an admin.
man. This is why I hate social
Mhm.
media because it gives everyone a voice, even people who shouldn't have
Yep.
one.
Yeah, that's what always gets me. Everybody, we have freedom of speech. You are free to say whatever you want.
That's right.
Totally free.
I'm
now,
free to
with
rebut
that
it.
said, should you say whatever you want? No.
Uh-huh. Yeah, exactly.
And am I allowed to correct you when you're wrong? Fuck yes, I am.
Absolutely.
I may have joined a ball python. I'm not gonna say the name of it because I don't kick me out yet. But I may have joined a ball python group just to see the stupidity of it.
Oh, Lord.
It was a group that was upset with the ball python movie.
Oh,
Mhm.
so you joined that group?
I joined that group.
I can
Oh,
shoot
boy.
you
They
a
invited
lot.
boy.
Dave to come join that group.
Did he do it?
I don't know, but I went and joined it just so I was like, this should be fun. I commented. I found the post in their group about it, and I was like,
I need to
I
watch
enjoyed the
that.
movie, and no one has said anything. So I was
Maybe
like,
I'll.
damn
Is it like? I mean, it's like appropriate and everything because it's Dave Kaufman.
Yeah, no, it's
like
good.
his stuff's good. Well, what I was saying is I've got to set up my classroom, so I may like throw it up on my Promethean
Yeah, you
board
can watch it in
and
class.
like watch it while I arrange everything. Because if we're going to Corpus this weekend, I need to get the ball rolling because meet the teachers Monday, and
Oh, boy.
everything is still piled in the middle of my room.
I should probably do something in my classroom.
Yeah, or come help me. That would be fun. Because
Yeah.
I panicked earlier when I realized I got 2 days to get my shit together, and that's not okay.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
I'm a
Yeah, because I'm going to need your help Saturday morning putting heat tape in.
fuck.
Please.
Fuck me. Okay.
I'm at the register this weekend, so I won't be much help.
All right, I want to get to the question we asked that Derek asked this week on our group because I want to read. We had a lot of good answers, and most of them are kind of lengthy, so I want to read them because they're good, and then I want us to kind of talk about it, and then we'll get into some of the other legislation. But we talked about last week that we had, a victory that all of the Lacey Act stuff that we were worried about in the proposed bill that has been thrown out. It is gone. It is not going to be voted on this time around. We are safe
For 2
for
years.
now.
For a year.
Yeah, for a year until PETA gets back at it again and puts something else in a bill that has nothing to do with snakes.
Mhm.
But I think we'll be okay for a little while because it's midterm elections and it's going to swing pretty hard, more than likely. So you'll see less of that. I'm trying not to be political here because I'm not.
Mhm.
I hate them all.
Yes.
That's what my daddy used to say.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're not looking out for us. But I think you'll see less of that for a couple of years.
I hope so.
Yeah, I could be completely wrong too.
But there were a lot of things in that bill that weren't part of the. And I've heard things that they're going to try and not do that as much anymore. But they will. It still happens. But our question this week was: do you think the reptile industry should have oversight from a governing body? Why or why not? And so let's go through several of these answers, and then we'll get into it. But Scott Borden said that that's a complex one, which it is. There may not be a perfect answer. I live in a state that people hate because of the restriction list. But after many years of watching this hobby from a lot of different perspectives, I believe we should have some sort of laws in place that keep the stupid people from keeping the stuff they shouldn't. But there should absolutely be a road to go down for those who can safely and correctly keep that stuff. In a perfect world, we would have policed ourselves and held ourselves to a higher standard and responsibility. But many in the hobby have chosen the dollar over the responsibility. He says, why? Because I have watched for over 2 decades to see many animals suffer sadly. We really need to start holding ourselves more accountable to a higher standard, as well as standards for our customers, which I agree with. But again, we'll dive into that. Our buddy Drew over at the Learning Zoo, he had several things to say, but with Scott, said he agrees on the failure to police ourselves. We lost our chance to say we can handle this. No need to involve the government, which is what you get with not just the reptile hobby. That happens with a lot of things.
Yep.
We should be allowed to do whatever we want. But it's hard to claim we are working towards serious conservation when the biggest driving force in the industry is mutant ball pythons. Which I'll comment on that too when we get to it. I agree and disagree. I feel like it's two different parts of the hobby. Drew says my answer is more focused, but as far as exhibiting and breeding reptiles goes, I expect the regulation is already on the way. He says the USDA is amending their rules to include birds under the Animal Welfare Act, meaning that they will subject to the same licensing and inspections as mammals when it comes to breeding, selling, and exhibiting to the public. I give it 10 years before reptiles are added as well, and I seriously doubt the biggest breeders, importers, and dealers in the country are going to be prepared for what that means. That said, USDA requirements aren't that extreme, and it would probably have a net positive of cleaning up the industry, making it harder to be a sketchy business. I know mammal stuff that it's quite, because we have several friends that breed mammals.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they have to deal with, like, USDA can come by at any point and inspect their facility and their animals and check things out, which
Yes, they can.
Which I know sounds scary to a lot of people, but if you're doing it right, and if you're on good terms with a lot of those people,
Right.
a lot of that's not that bad. I know Drew, because he's got some mammals, he had to get some stuff cleared up through USDA before some of his mammals could go on exhibit and all that. And so our buddy Jason Miloradovich said, I like Scott Borden's answer and agree that I wish we could do a better job of policing ourselves, and some types of animals should probably have checks in place to make sure they're being kept correctly by the right people. My short answer to the question, however, is I would absolutely not, mainly because I don't believe a governing body would hire the people with the right knowledge and or educate them correctly to be able to police this hobby.
Nope.
Probably not. Sean Shield says, no, the government needs to step back in almost every area of life. You should be able to do anything you want in your own home property as long as you aren't negatively affecting someone else's life, which I can agree with. But the
100%
problem is,
if you got a venomous snake that gets loose because you're not taking care of it correctly.
yeah, that's the problem. A lot of these things that have triggered a lot of the legislation is because it has left that person's home.
Yep.
And is now affecting someone else's life.
Mm-hmm.
So our buddy Todd Autry said,
Or if your tiger gets out,
or the tiger,
eat your neighbor.
Yeah. Oh boy.
or the tiger's wandering the streets of Houston.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Not that that's happened. In the
No.
last
No.
year. Our buddy Todd Autry said, yes, I have to euthanize one more. If I have to euthanize one more animal that I can't afford to house, I can't afford or house, I'm going to pull my hair out. I see too many flippant sales, and I am in favor of professional and responsible exotic husbandry.
That's a fun word.
Flippant. That is it's a tricky word if you're not used to saying it. Mason Diaz says, I think they at
I was
most.
going to say, you just got real country on us for a second.
I got
And I was-
Shit.
horse shit.
Woo!
Anyway, it says, I think they at most should have a permit system for animals they want to blacklist, like hots or crocodilians. There's no way an average Joe should be able to just buy a Nile crocodile, for example. But with permits, they could go into the right hands. And maybe if we have permits, we have currently prohibited animals like American alligators, which you need an alligator farm permit in Texas. But at no point should there be a black and white list, in my opinion. That's so That's too far and pisses me off after seeing what they tried to pull with revising the Lacey Act, which again, we won.
Mm-hmm.
I love Zach Loafman's answer. Yes.
Yep.
It was just yes. Yeah.
Can appreciate that.
Even our buddy Blake said,
Yeah.
I don't, but honestly, more laws are coming and we can only blame ourselves.
He's right.
There are a few other ones I'll do real quick. Joe Smith has the most generic name. Unless it is made of a group of people selected from within the hobby, then no. Official oversight, as in government, has consistently shown its willingness to overstep and enact punishments and restrictions without proper research from a qualified party, which is true. Another no here was no.
We put C Florida.
Shelby Brown said no. We deal with enough of that in every other aspect of our lives. Our hobby is supposed to be enjoyable, but when you bring in people to govern it, it becomes a killjoy. It wouldn't be so much of an issue if people didn't become power hungry in their roles, but it has become a human behavior that comes with ruling over others. We are too easily swayed to become corrupt. So, a lot of good answers, and I agree with pretty much everybody in part of what they said.
Sure.
Yep.
Derek, what was your answer to this?
Man, I like this question because I feel like there isn't really a right answer. You can see good points on both sides. I kind of lean more towards the side that we clearly can't figure our shit out on our own as an industry. It would be nice if we could, or if we had a group of people that were industry minded that could step up and kind of take the lead on these kinds of things. But I've dealt with people enough to know that everybody sucks. Everybody's shit. So whether it's people in the industry trying to regulate us or a governing agency, it's going to suck no matter what. You can't make everybody happy. I do think there needs to be some sort of oversight. I know a lot of people are not a huge fan of Florida Fish and Wildlife. I'm one of those very interesting people who actually doesn't hate the agency. I agree with a lot of our licensing practices. Not just anybody, I believe, not just anybody who's 18 years old should be able to go buy a Mamba. I do like the way our venomous system is set up. I think the hours are a bit overkill. The fact that I've got hours I can go buy an inland taipan, but I can't buy like a mangrove snake is kind of weird to me. Or a Gila monster.
You haven't got your Colubridae hours yet?
No Colubridae, no Heloderma. I did the time, have the things I want. I'm good.
You have to do 100 hours for Gilas?
1,000.
1,000? Fuck that.
Exactly. I mean, if you can handle an angry blue tongue skink, you can handle a Gila.
Right.
Like, I get that it's venomous, but it's a fucking Gila monster.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Will you die? No.
And they walk like 0.2 miles an hour. You can get out of the way if it comes for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you get bit by Heloderma, you're trying to.
Exactly. I tell people the same thing when because I talk to people about like hognose and venomations all the time, and I'm like, look, if you take one of those, you're doing something you shouldn't be doing.
Yeah,
but that's besides the point. No, I like some of what FWC does. I like some of Florida's permitting systems for more dangerous wildlife. Am I a proponent of prohibited species and bans? Absolutely not. But I do think there needs to be some sort of oversight because we clearly can't regulate ourselves. So.
Yeah. I'm all, and I've said this for a long time. I'm all for a permit system because I think the alternative to a permit system is outright ban, which is what has been what has tried to happen.
Yes.
I don't think the alternative is they just leave us alone. That's not going to fucking happen. Again, we've done it to ourselves. Every issue we have has been caused by somebody with a reptile. The snakes and stuff didn't get here and then let themselves loose. That's not what happened.
Our friend John Grant says, I have a Gila. I know, John. I was there when you bought it.
Fuck you, John. You live in Oklahoma. There's no laws in Oklahoma. They just hope people will live there.
Absolute favorite photographs that I have of you is you holding that animal.
Oh, I fucking love you.
The look
yes, John,
of pure joy on your face.
I also know that the Rangers are beating the Astros right now. You keep messaging me.
But
third inning.
I do think 1,000 hours is excessive.
That's a lot.
And that's another thing. Florida, we've talked about before on here. Florida is 1,000 hours per family. So like vipers, was it Colubridae, elapids, and then the Heloderma. Like it's
If you can get, I mean, like how many hours in a day are you able to obtain with them?
So it depends a lot on the facility you're working at, where you're getting your hours, who you're getting them from, and there's also a
Like,
lot
is
of
8 hours
gray
a day
area.
a thing?
It's totally a thing. There's also a lot of gray area as to what you consider gaining experience. Like if I'm watching somebody work a mamba, I mean, I think that's experience and can be counted.
Yeah.
Someone else may not. Scrubbing water bowls.
Oh.
Scrubbing water bowls may not be considered gaining hours, but there's a lot of gray area. But if you're working somewhere like, say, Reptile Preservation Institute, huge collection, lots of animals, I could definitely put down. I was there 12 hours, constantly gaining information and learning.
Well, for those of our listeners that do not like to math, I did the math, and 1,000 hours at 8 hours a day is 125 days.
Yeah, and those people have jobs. Like,
I mean,
can't
you're
just-
that's like 4.5 months of you working every day of the month.
And the other thing they
For
put
8 hours,
into
exactly.
the regulations as well is that it has to be for a minimum of a year plus
Yeah.
1,000 hours. Now,
So-
I will say there is an exam that FWC doesn't exactly broadcast or
I've heard about
advertise. Yeah, so you can take this exam and it knocks your hours down by half. So now you only need 500 for each family.
But even if you, but even if you say you didn't pass that exam
Mm-hmm.
and you have to do it over the course of a year, you still have to have 11 days a month
Mm-hmm.
at 8 hours a day.
Well, and what do you do for 1,000 hours with the Gila? Poke it with a stick.
Yeah, exactly.
Be venomous. Be venomous.
Here's some food. You like that sand? I mean,
Yeah, it's
what do you-
crazy.
yeah.
Well, and,
I mean, it's a little better if you pass that exam because then it's only 6 days a month.
see, and I would more rather it be 500 hours per family and then knock that down to like 100 or 250 or whatever if you pass the test.
I mean, I would be okay with a tier system. Like I mentioned earlier, if I can own taipans and mambas,
Yeah.
there's no reason I can't have some sort of obscure rear fanged colubrid.
Well, that's the funny. So if you get your elapid hours,
Mhm.
you can get a king cobra.
Mhm.
But I couldn't go out and catch a copperhead and keep
Correct.
the
Correct.
copperhead. That's way fucking safer.
Right.
And that's around here, like if it gets loose, no one's gonna fucking know,
Right.
Because we already have
Uh-huh.
them. So, and I mean, and you're 15 minutes away from one of the best venomous collections I've ever seen, and I've seen those black mambas up close. Just because someone can get the hours doesn't mean they fucking need that snake.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Absolutely.
I will never forget that kid at the non-herp show talking to me out front while I was waiting on a customer. He had a lepidus and a coral cobra, I think, standing there in a deli pan waiting on his mom to pick him up.
Golly, man.
It gets better, Derek. He starts telling me, he's like, yeah, I got a black mamba a couple weeks ago and it got loose in my room because I got it out and I was
Fucking
scared
burn
of
the
it.
house down.
I was scared of it, and I finally got it back in its cage, and I'm kind of intimidated by it. I'm like, you need to go back in that show and go talk to, and I told him who to go talk to, and have him come get that, and just
Good Lord.
that snake is gonna fucking kill you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
I'm
someone
like,
else.
how big is it? He goes, oh, it's a full grown adult. It's like 9 feet, 10 feet.
Fuck.
I'm like, Jesus
No.
Christ. And I'm like, do you
No.
live like on a farm? No, I live in a neighborhood.
Oh,
I'm like,
my
of
Of
God.
course.
God.
Yeah. Because why not?
Yeah, this
Jeez.
kid's he's probably 21, and I had to have his mom drop him off at a reptile show. And-
couldn't afford his own car, but he can have a black mamba and some other shit.
Yeah,
Yeah. Don't have a driver's license. It's just a state ID.
yeah.
So
So you can imagine what his cages are probably like.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
well, because he's not going to reach in there and clean it.
No.
So going back to this, I'm all for a permit system.
Mhm.
Some of the other things people mentioned in here, they're worried about if the government does it and the person not. That is a big concern. And that's been our issue with everything that's gone. Most, if not all, of these proposed laws or things have been written and put in place by people that don't know the
Yep.
animal or what they're talking about when it comes to the hobby or how it's done.
Okay, so let me just say, because I bring that side to this conversation. That's not just with reptiles.
No.
That's
No.
with education.
No, yeah.
That's with gun laws. That's with
Oh, yeah.
medical stuff. Like everything
and so-
out there right now that is in controversy is because people are writing laws and they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Well, and so I think that it definitely should be a part, like I guess bipartisan, a group of whatever officials, and then yes, part of the hobby. But then that comes down to who in the hobby do we trust to be the voice of the hobby?
Well, and not only
Exactly.
that, but you also run into the issue. It's very similar with like, and I'm going back to education because that's what I know. But you have like when principals leave the classroom, they're great for a couple of years at remembering what it was like, but they
Mhm.
eventually get so far removed
Yep.
from being in the classroom with kids that it becomes an
So-
issue. And I
but-
really think the same thing would happen with reptile.
But who do we
people.
put there? Because if you're the general public thinking of the reptile hobby, you're thinking Jay Brewer. Fuck
Oh,
no.
God.
You're thinking,
Tyler.
yeah, you're thinking the dumbasses in Florida because they have YouTube videos. You're
Uh-huh.
thinking Brian Barczyk because
Yeah.
he's got YouTube. And that's I don't feel that's safe. Or then you might think, and this isn't a knock on Kabilko because I have great respect for Kabilko, but he's not a guy that owns cobras and stuff, so he probably shouldn't be there for those laws. Like that doesn't.
Mhm.
Well, it's like Texas Parks and Wildlife. It just made me think about it because like today they advertised that they need a new biologist in the Trans-Pecos district because their biologist is moving on to another job within Texas Parks and Wildlife.
Mhm.
And I'm reading their requirements, and they want you to have a bachelor's degree in biology. They would prefer a master's degree, blah blah blah. Then they also have an opening on the Texas Parks and Wildlife Board of Directors. It's an appointed position by the governor.
Yep.
He can just pick whoever the fuck he
Yeah, you
wants.
can pick a friend.
Yep.
There are no and you go look at the people that are directors, they're like business owners and stuff.
Yeah.
These
So
are the
does in
people that
Florida.
actually decide.
Yeah.
They don't decide what the laws are because the legislature does that, but they can change a whole lot of rules, just
Yep,
like what's
so does
happening in Florida.
Yep.
And these are people who know nothing about conservation or wildlife, or some of them might be big time hunters and things like guys who spend a lot of time outdoors, but they're not degreed professionals.
But you've met some of those guys who do that who still don't understand conservation.
Absolutely, all the time.
You know,
I'll kill that rattlesnake because I got kids. Sorry.
Okay, so our buddy John Grant made a comment and he says, "I'll never have hot stuff. I get bit too much."
Yep.
yes.
And I feel like that is a very
I talked him out of
valid-
buying a mangrove snake a couple weeks
valid
ago
reason.
because I'm like, John, no. He's like, I think I'm gonna go buy that mangrove. No, dude, you're gonna get bitten. You're gonna send me a picture, and your hand's gonna be all swollen up. Don't buy it.
We're gonna find out you're allergic to mangroves.
Yeah,
Yeah, right. It's gonna be the worst possible scenario.
yeah.
But so I think in what everyone said, there's a middle ground. Now, do I think
Yeah.
we're in it? Probably not, because we're in a
No.
country where middle ground doesn't exist.
Exactly.
The middle ground is common sense, and we're not using that anymore.
Nope.
But I do think, as much as we don't need any oversight, we don't need anybody. We do. We've given tons of examples already of where there was no oversight and shit has happened.
Mhm.
That kid never should have been able to buy a black mamba, right?
No.
And in Florida, he legally wouldn't have been able to have it.
Right.
Now, does that mean that everyone in Florida that owns a black mamba or a cobra legally has them?
Mhm.
No. And I get that. People always go, well, just because you make laws doesn't mean that the ones that break them are going to follow them. I get that.
I seriously doubt this kid had the permits he was supposed to have in Texas either. But
But if you don't do anything,
you literally go to Academy and buy the permit.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
Walmart.
yeah.
I mean, it's
it's not 1,000 hours per
No.
family. It's can you hand us the cash? And,
it's more of a
Yeah.
way for the state to be able to track,
Mhm.
people who have the permit.
so I definitely think there needs to be something. Florida is the one that has faced the most with this. So y'all are the most experienced with having to dodge all this stuff. And I know you work with a few different groups, so you've kind of gotten more of a feel of how that goes. And I know that what was it? There was one of the last fish before the Lacey X stuff went. There was a Fish and Wildlife meeting that everybody got upset about.
Yes. Yeah. So there were some new regulations that were passed that were about basically escapes and injury reporting in the state of Florida that a lot of people got really upset about. And there was also somewhere in those regulations, it talked about permit renewals and revocations. So it got a lot of people stirred up because the way it was
Bless you.
worded, bless you. Yes. Sorry.
Sorry.
The way it was worded was that over any one violation, you could have your permit either denied or revoked. So a lot of people got really up in arms about the wording on that. And rightfully so. That's a scary thing. And Fish and Wildlife did come out and they did say that, they're not going to revoke permits over dirty water dishes, clerical errors with record keeping, things like that. But unfortunately, there's just so much distrust between the industry and Fish and Wildlife that no one really cares to listen or even believes that. And, you know, rightfully so. There's been some shady stuff that's happened. But yeah, so that's something that a lot of people are really, really worried about. And I mean, shoot, I've had clerical issues with records, and, you know, you have a Fish and Wildlife inspection and you show up and maybe a snake just shit in its water dish. You know, you're going to now be freaking out over that because you're like, great, if this guy doesn't like me, he can revoke my permit over this dirty water dish. So I get it. There needs to be a little bit better wording on that. But that was kind of the big one recently. And then the other one was reporting bites and injuries, which for me as a venomous keeper, nothing really changed. But now people who keep class 3 wildlife, so like possums, skunks, coons, things like that, small mammals, other animals, if someone that is not the owner of that animal comes over, they're considered general public, and they receive an injury that requires more than basic first aid, that has to be reported to Fish and Wildlife. And that goes all the way up the board to even facilities that have like big cats or bears or things like that. And that's another thing people were really upset about, is Fish and Wildlife considers volunteers at these facilities to be the general public. And I don't have much experience working cats, but from what I understand, it's not abnormal to get a scratch, you know, here and there. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people are now really concerned that they're going to be getting violations for these injuries that are taking place, that they're being forced to report, or there's going to be people who aren't reporting these injuries. And now there are concerns over, okay, what if someone seriously gets injured, but they don't want to lose their animals, so they're not seeking proper treatment. They're trying to bandage it up themselves. So there's just kind of a lot of chaos going on right now. A lot of concerns that I'm not trying to, you know, invalidate or anything like that. I think people may be getting a little bit worked up in arms. You know, the way I see it, if you follow the rules and you have a good relationship with your investigators, usually things go pretty well. Knock on wood, I've never run into any issues. I hope that never happens. But, you know, I'm hoping that since this stuff is getting passed and there's not much that we can do about it, it does at least weed out some of the bad ones. But, yeah, you know, who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, and that's where, like I said, I think the permit system is good. Again, I go back to the one saying they should be allowed to do whatever they want on their own property to an extent. But again, you get bit by something and say you die from it at your house, well, and that thing got out. Yeah, it's no longer your problem. It's somebody else's problem. So, and you probably shouldn't have owned it because you didn't have the experience or respect for whatever you owned at that point. In a lot of situations, because I've seen how easy it is for someone to go buy their first venomous snake and not have to worry about permits, and they just go get it. So I like the idea of a permit system, and I like the idea of a permit system for crocodilians. There's a lot of folks that go by. You hear like on NPR they talk about up in was it Hamburg, where you can just go buy a fucking alligator.
Well, look at the Critchlow.
The alligator sanctuary. It's full of rescued alligators.
Michigan, is that where they're at?
Yeah, it's in Michigan. Full of rescued alligators from up there, up north.
Because it's perfectly legal to have one there.
Where Northerners like, we should get an alligator. What the fuck do you mean? So yeah, that probably needs a permit. But my problem is, eventually one day I hope to own enough land that I think I could probably respectfully own an alligator. Yep. But I can't because we don't have a permit for me to do it.
Right. You can get a Nile crocodile.
But yeah, I can get a Nile crocodile.
Insane.
But I want the puppy dog. I want the alligator. I don't want to get eaten.
Fuck no.
I'm getting I'll get something.
You're not getting a Nile crocodile.
No,
I can tell your ass that.
I don't want a Nile crocodile.
Get a Siamese. They're super calm.
So Darren asked, I mentioned I'm okay with permits. How do I feel about inspections? I think people freak out about inspections probably more than they should. When they just show up behind you in your driveway. That's not an inspection. That was me. That was scary is what that was. I didn't know what the hell was going on. But the wildlife fishers came into my house, looked at all my stuff. I showed them everything. All my stuff was in order, and I didn't get in trouble for anything in my house. No. Right? I got in trouble for selling a carpet python in Louisiana, which was the dumbest fucking thing. But so inspections I'm okay with. The problem is you weren't even home when they got there. The problem is, I guess, the inspectors need to be educated. And I guess maybe in Florida there's probably a handful that are a little more just because it's more common there, but I'm sure there's still a ton that you can show them any snake and tell them anything and they still don't know what they're looking at. I mean, you can show them all python and tell them it's corn snake. So
Yeah, that is unfortunately the case, and I hate it. I love a lot of the officers that I know. They're all really great guys, but yeah, no, when it comes to the captive wildlife stuff, there's just so much shit that people are keeping here in Florida that they're not going to just be able to look at and identify, and
Yeah.
it's definitely a problem. And I would love to see more people from this side of the industry maybe pursue careers with fish and wildlife to get some more captive minded people in the agency, maybe make a difference. But
See, that's where I think the industry could benefit by partnering with them, and you could help
Mhm.
educate some of these people that have these
Mhm.
larger collections that are doing things properly. Bring them in, and every year you bring them in for a weekend or whatever to show them stuff and go through species and explain. I would, when they came into mine and look at everything, like I said, I showed these are sand boas, and as soon as they heard boa, they go, "Those are boa constrictors." I'm like, "No, they're sand boas. They
Mhm.
get like 1.5 feet long. They're not a boa constrictor." But then that point, I was like, "But that is a boa constrictor," and they just need that. The problem is, you're going to have people in this hobby who think just like the internet. They think they do know what's right, and then they'll like all volunteer to help. And we as a hobby don't want that person to be the mouthpiece for us and help educate people, because that is not going to help us.
Correct.
So that's where we get back to infighting on who should be allowed to do what.
Yep. It's a tough thing to tackle, because I mean, I love USARK. I think USARK does great stuff. The Florida chapter, which is technically a separate entity, they come from a good place. They are trying to stand up for the industry in Florida, which is great. I sometimes have concerns about who's in charge and who's running this stuff. I also have bigger concerns on who decides, like, because we've got technical advisory groups for the state of Florida, where we have, I guess, people from USARK Florida and FWC coming together and talking about regulations and things. But the last meeting that I watched when all those regulations got passed, the chairman for Florida Fish and Wildlife basically said, if the needle doesn't start moving forward at these tag meetings, that the agency's just going to start making decisions on their own. So to me, that sounds an awful lot like the guys representing the industry in Florida are not wanting to budge on anything. And it's, we want it our way, and that's it. And unfortunately, it's all a political game. You got to work with people, and you got to find middle ground. So it's a whole thing. It's hard to decide who should be representing us and who makes the decision of who's representing us. It's a mess.
So Darren Watson asked what level of education is required for fish and wildlife. I know in Texas they have to have a bachelor's degree,
but it doesn't.
But it could be in anything. It doesn't have to be. It could be underwater basket reef.
Yeah, and even if it is a biology degree, it could have been a microbiology.
Right.
It doesn't have to, and they don't have to have extensive knowledge of the wildlife they would be enforcing laws on.
So that's for LE, not like a biologist position.
Correct.
So I'll tell y'all right now, going into LE with Florida Fish and Wildlife, you have to be at least 18 years old, high school degree, and no criminal record is the minimum qualifications.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah. Well, and even if you go to the biologist,
even in Louisiana, you have to have a bachelor's degree.
Yeah. So I applied for all. But even for a biologist position,
dude, if Alabama makes you have a bachelor's degree and Florida doesn't, I'm about to look.
The biologist position doesn't have to fully understand reptiles. Like they don't. Granted, they will have a state herpetologist. Like in Louisiana, we had a state herpetologist, and it was one dude, and we all knew who he was until he sat down and someone else took his position. Mm-hmm. But he's the one dude. He's not the one dude coming to your house, and he's not. Every other biologist in the state is not trained like him. They don't know ball python, retics, Burmese, angolin pythons, like they don't know that stuff. And so it's that area where yes, they could be educated, but they're probably not going to be educated in the area we need them to be educated.
Yeah, all Alabama is high school diploma, good physical condition, qualified to be a law enforcement officer.
Yeah,
in Alabama, which probably means a pulse.
I'm not gonna lie, I would never do wildlife fisheries law enforcement.
No,
because almost everybody you come upon has a gun.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, but it's exceedingly rare for game wardens to be shot.
Yeah,
I mean, we have lost a couple here in Texas. Justin Hurst years ago was shot by a guy who was right down the road here, who was night hunting and got no pursuit and ended up he had a Mini 14. Ooh. And they executed him about 2 years ago, and before that, it had been like 20 years.
Really?
The Texas game warden had been. We've lost several to drowning and a couple to, car accidents and stuff. But it's very rare for a game warden to get shot.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you, the couple of ride-alongs I've been on here in Florida, golly, it's a lot of fun.
Oh, I bet, man. I mean, I don't know if you know, I'm sure you've heard me say it. I was a police officer for a number of years. Mm-hmm. And my favorite thing I did in all law enforcement was when I got to do Marine Patrol at the sheriff's office, and we had to go out there and stop boats, and that stuff was a blast. Yeah, but that that was a reserve position. So even when I went out and did it as a full-time deputy, I didn't get paid for it.
Oh man!
So, Victor said Cody should be one of the I agree.
I agree.
Cody would be a great person to have there because he has the right experience and the right mindset for what is needed.
Yes.
Yep. Absolutely. I would definitely agree with that.
Like I said, and for anybody that's never been to their facility, it's hard to explain because you pull up to it and it's just like a house in the middle of fucking nowhere, and then you go into it and it's better than any zoo you've been in.
Ari Flegel would be a good one too.
Ari Flegel. Yeah. Ari Flegel would be a good one.
Yeah.
And look, and Phil Goss is great.
Yes, absolutely.
He's definitely. I'm glad he is the voice and the face that
Ryan McVeigh.
Ryan McVeigh would be a good one.
Yeah.
But it's got to be. It can't be people that are purely making money off the hobby.
Right.
That's not going to help us. It's fine if you have a big time breeder there who's there to help with some of that legislation, but it needs to be folks that understand a little of all of it.
Yep.
And especially when it comes to venomous, Cody fully understands, because Cody he hates that guy that goes into a show and just buys a cobra and then walks out.
Oh yeah. He will, and he's not shy about lighting them up either. He will speak his opinion. Speak his opinion for sure.
You might save that person's life.
No doubt. He's very entertaining on Facebook. He's gotten a lot more laid back in his old age.
But I know several people that have also gone to Cody, and that's where they've gotten their hours.
Yep.
And he's a great person to learn from.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I will say, for anyone who's watching or listening who hasn't been to RPI and you want to, the Thursday before Daytona, if anyone's coming to Florida for that show, they are doing an event at RPI. You can buy your tickets ahead of time. It's called Reptile Preservation Party. Going to be super cool. Beer, food, special talks, tour of the facility. Like y'all have said, the facility is amazing. It's been growing constantly. There are outdoor crocodilian exhibits now. They just
were
put
in a tub last time I was there.
It's incredible. So if anyone's interested in going, now's a really good opportunity.
And then hang out in the Montaigne room if you're a fat person like me.
Yes,
it's like 60 degrees in there. It's fucking amazing.
Beautifully.
That room.
Oh
my, that room is why I have such an expensive fucking taste in venomous reptiles.
But the great thing is they're all small snakes, so you can have a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's a fat guy during the summer. That's the room to go hang out when you go there. Like, oh no, I just really love these little tiny vipers. It's gonna take me a while to look at these guys.
Vipers from way up in the mountains. So they get cold,
and it is cold in there. It feels great.
Very cold. It's awesome.
And I've said it before. Like I said, there's never been a snake that I think has impressed me more than those black mambas.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because they're massive.
What
is is it like a hypo death adder?
Yes. Yeah. The Dejara. It's a hypo.
Oh my God. That thing is fucking amazing looking.
It
is red and tan, and it looks amazing.
Sounds cool.
Over here.
Yeah.
I'm done.
I don't know what's going, like I got like a tickle in my throat or something. Shut up. Don't say a damn word.
I didn't say shit. I didn't.
Screw you guys.
I didn't
I'd say I'm going home, but I'm already here.
Some good sweet tea.
I didn't say shit.
Is that what you're drinking too? Tea?
No, it's Diet Dr. Pepper.
No.
I haven't had any other caffeine today.
Oof.
I'm doing good. I've been drinking like 120 ounces of water every day. And
nice.
I haven't been eating after 8 o'clock, and my sugar's actually where it's supposed to be. And
I didn't eat after 8 o'clock yesterday. I mean, I only ate half a pint of ice cream.
I was super impressed that you only ate half the pint. You didn't finish off the pint.
Because self-control.
Because
it was.
I may have diabetes now, and I've started to realize when I eat too many sweets and I eat a lot of shit, I feel like shit. So.
Which is why I ate before the podcast tonight.
I'm trying to cut back on eating.
It's actually really nice to sit here and not be hungry.
I may have eaten I may have gone to CC's the other day, stuffed my face, and then got a milkshake on the way home from Dairy Queen,
And then
and then
felt
had a
like
headache and felt
garbage.
like shit the rest of the night.
Uh-huh.
Sounds
But
about
I-
right.
But I would still do it again because
Sounds really good for your pancreas.
Yeah.
Kidneys.
I had a piece of pecan,
He came by the house earlier, by the way.
pecan
Who?
pie.
My friend who just had to have
Oh, did he?
start dialysis last week.
How's he?
Mm.
Well, he lost 20 pounds in a day and a half when they started doing dialysis because they took all that fluid off of him that it was building up.
Oh,
Yeah.
This guy's normally 175
it's
pounds
like
and
40.
41. When he went to the hospital 2 weeks ago, a week ago and a half ago, he was 199.6 pounds.
Yeah, I in the last year, I guess because I'm getting older and all people I know are getting older. I'm now reaching an age where when someone says they're sick, I'm like, go to the doctor.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, we
Yep.
talked about before we lost our sister-in-law this year. She had a headache, and if she had gone maybe when she first had the headache,
Well, it started
Who
on
goes to the
the.
doctor for a headache?
Here's
Yeah.
the thing, though.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
started
yeah.
on a Friday,
I'd be at the doctor 5 days a week.
and Sunday night, when it got
Yeah.
to the point where like she was
She was
running
gonna go
a
on
fever
Monday.
and was nauseous, they were going to go Monday morning, and everything happened between Sunday night and Monday morning.
Well, that's this person that I'm talking about. His father-in-law passed away a week before he went in the hospital with kidney issues from the same thing, from a
Yeah.
brain bleed.
Jeez.
And well, it was gallstones that got septic because he didn't go to the doctor
Mm.
and activated his Guillain-Barré syndrome that they think was from his COVID vaccine
Oh boy.
and caused a brain bleed. Now he was 75 years old, so you know he also had other risk factors. But
Yeah.
yes.
I
But
have
if
a
you feel sick-
32-year-old friend right now who can't feel her legs from Guillain-Barré syndrome
Jeez.
that they directly relink to the Pfizer vaccine. I don't know how they do that, but they said they did. But yeah, she just woke up one morning and can't feel her legs. She
Well,
can still move them. She can't feel them.
Jeez.
Well, that was like my back hurt, and I took 3 weeks of not going to the doctor because my back hurt.
Even though every single person in his life
Right.
that he told,
Had Katie been here, he'd have been at the
he
doctor.
had
Probably would have.
told,
Mhm.
Rachel even offered to go with him since I
know.
wasn't here and he wouldn't go without me.
I walked into the chiropractor. He could see I was in pain. He goes, "Oh man!" And then my wife's like, "Katie goes, yeah, it's been 3 weeks." He goes, "Oh, I don't feel bad for you now. Fuck that."
He was like, he said, if you would have come in the first or second day, this would not be this bad.
Yep.
And I'm like,
Ooh.
who else?
But
told
look,
you
I can
that in
sit
your
here
life?
at the podcast and not cry.
I went on day 2 and my neck messed up a few weeks ago, and
Oh,
it hurt like a son of a bitch when he was adjusting it those first 2 or 3 days. But
But man, it does. It's.
it went
I always
away.
thought. I
I
always
thought
thought
his soul left his body at one point on the chiropractor
Well,
table.
the first time. The first time we went, we go to leave.
It
Katie's
was
like,
scary
Katie's
shit,
like,
man.
was that scary? I was like, yeah. She goes, you think it's gonna be scary next time? It's gonna be scary every time.
Well,
Every
maybe the
time he
neck-
leans
I've
on me
never
and my
done-
back
I've never-
cracks.
I
Yeah.
have a massage therapist that I go to once a month.
Does
and
he do your neck?
No.
Oh.
he's only done the back.
Yeah. Wait till you get your neck popped. When he just,
Uh-huh.
grabs it.
One
and
of
goes like
one of
this,
them has, and that
then
did scare me.
Pow! And you're like, I just saw stars for a second.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
how does lightning happen inside my head?
Right.
It's insane.
Oh
But
my
I've always thought of chiropractors as like a used car salesman of medicine,
hmm
and I was like,
That
that's not gonna.
doctors do too, unfortunately.
But none of that shit works.
Yeah.
You just
Mhm.
you have. I've
They're-
had the folks that go one time. They go, it didn't fix it. You can't go one time.
Well, like when we got there, he told us James was going to have to go like 4 or 5 days in a row, once or twice a day.
And I did.
Mhm.
And I'm like, you know what? We have the money on our medical card and it covers chiropractic care. I was like, we're doing it. I'm like, we're doing it because I cannot. He wasn't driving.
couldn't
I was
sit.
having to drive every
Yeah.
night. And I married him,
I
so
was
I
either-
didn't have to drive.
I was either standing or laying horizontal for 3 weeks.
I met him and Sam at the school to look for those cages that day.
Yeah.
oh, that was horrible.
And he got out of the truck, and it took him like 5 minutes to unfold
Yes.
himself in the truck.
I thought he was going to fall in the parking lot when we went to lunch that day. And after that, I was like, no. I was like, we are going tomorrow
Mhm.
to the chiropractor.
So, lesson here. Go to the
Listen
doctor.
to your wife. That's
Yeah,
the lesson.
That's not the lesson.
I'm going to be cool if like people around me quit dying.
Well,
Because it's been like,
I don't have any plans
it's
for
been
it.
like 6
So-
people in the last
Yeah.
month and a half.
It's
And that's not even counting
yeah.
Kayla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a little bit
Rough.
outside of this time. But yeah, I'm going to be,
Yeah.
let's pump the brakes on that,
Mellow.
folks.
Let's mellow out here.
As long as
for a
my
minute.
pancreas can give me a fucking break, I should be all right.
Well, now that you're eating better, it's going to do better.
Fucking pancreas. Anyways,
We went off on a
we
tangent,
did.
y'all.
Go to the doctor's. What I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Don't
I
be a hard head.
So I want to talk about some of the things I saw this week, and I'll ask Derek any things he saw on social media, YouTube. But I watched Jason's Exotic Reptiles did a side by side betting comparison
What?
for all the cocoa bettings.
What did you just say?
It was 4 side by sides.
Okay.
It was a 4 by side. But he did Reptile Chip, and he did was it Cocoa Blocks? He did Pro Cocoa, and then some other random one that he now sells.
Is this? I was about to say this is like a reptile guy.
Yeah.
Okay. So there is someone else on YouTube. I'm gonna have to text your dad and find out who it is. And this guy like spends months on a project, but he will take something like spray paint and he will do an experiment at his house that is like a 6 month to a year experiment. And then he like puts it all the information out there for everybody to fund.
Well, this one was interesting. So he compared several things, and some of the complaints he had, I've heard from other people, and I don't understand why they're complaints. And maybe y'all can help me figure this out. One, I've never been a fan of Cocoa Blocks. One, I don't like Freedom Reader. But two, they're giant fucking chunks, and I can't imagine my snake wants to lay on giant. Like, I get that some people think, oh, I love these giant chunks of cocoa, but I'm like, that's only because it seems easier for you to clean.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't seem comfortable for the animal to lay on. So I'm not a fan of that. And then a reason why he didn't like, and I've heard this from other people, the reason he didn't like Reptile Chip that much is there's a lot of fibers. And I'm like, yeah, but that's the good part. That makes it easier for them to dig in and lay on, and it's softer. And I didn't understand that negative. I didn't understand how that was a negative to me.
That it was softer?
Well, that it had all these stringy fibers that come from being cocoa.
Yep.
And then it didn't have these giant square chunks of cocoa. So I watched that. He likes this. The one that he chose most was one that he now carries and sells, but it was some like off-brand one I'd never heard of, and it looked good. It looked fine. He was not a fan. He's been using the Pro Cocoa and the Cocoa Blocks, but it like expands less than the rest of them because it's these giant chunks. They can't fit as much in there. And then he hated the Pro Cocoa, which I've never used. But like I did see him, like when he first sprayed it, it just did not expand.
I got some when I first started out at a show, and I threw it away.
That's what he said.
Wow.
I don't even want to use this. He's like, because he had these 4 tubs of cocoa bedding, and that was the one. He's like, I'm not using this. I'm just gonna throw it out.
I didn't like it.
One of the complaints I've heard people talk about is they every now and then you find like shreds of little plastic in these bags.
Mm-hmm.
But I've talked to JT about this, and it's because they pile all this cocoa in these sacks, these big plastic sacks, and that's how they carry it from one place to the other. And every now and then little threads fall off, and you find it in all of them.
Not gonna hurt anything.
All of them have it. You just pick it out if you want to pick it out. It's fine.
Yeah, one of the other brands, I have a friend who found a piece of glass in his twice.
Oh shit!
Not Reptile Chip.
But I'm a Reptile Chip supporter for a couple reasons. One, I love. Darren wants to. Yeah, he does. He says the fibers get caught in the snake's mouth, which I guess. But if your snake is healthy, that's not a problem.
Mm-mm.
I was going to say, why would your snake's mouth?
It's when they feed and like they strike and they'll get a whole some. But a healthy snake should pass any of that or get that out of its mouth. That shouldn't be a problem for a healthy snake.
They get shit in their mouths in the wild.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And that's only a problem for a sick snake, dehydrated snake. That's where those things start to become issues.
Yeah, their stomach breaks down teeth and bones.
Yeah.
It can break down a piece of coconut fiber.
Yeah. Or at least shit it out.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. So that again, the fiber, that's one of the things I like about it. It's very soft and it's closer to like having soil without having to use soil and dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Miller Radovich says he found a 3/4 nut all rusted up inside of an off-brand.
Jeez.
Jesus Christ.
That's not a small nut.
Just imagine you're putting it in the tub and all you clunk. What the fuck?
I mean,
is
yeah, that one's going to make a noise for sure.
Oh.
But I like Reptile Chip because of the way it is, but I also love it because of the business.
I love that we refer to everything but Reptile Chip as an off-brand.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is pretty fabulous.
Well, the crazy thing is, I think the general public would think Reptile Chip is a big business, like it's a huge business, but it's not. It's a small business. So if you want to support a small business
It's
owner,
JT and like 5 other people.
yeah. And for anybody that's never met JT, you're never going to meet a nicer human being
That's
on
a fact.
earth.
Does he own real shoes? It's like genuine
He probably
question.
owns a pair of boots,
Or long
and they're probably
pants.
the ones he wore in like Afghanistan. So that's probably the only boots he owns.
That may be why he wears flip-flops all the time now, because he never wore them.
Probably why he wears shorts and flip flops and a t-shirt, because he doesn't have to dress like he's in Afghanistan anymore.
Yeah.
That could very well be it.
But for anybody that's never
love
met him,
him so
JT is a
much.
gentle giant. He's like, I'm 6'5", so he's probably 6'6".
He could get ungentle if he has to.
I was going to
Yeah.
say, he could have you on the ground in
Yes. Don't-
0.2 seconds.
I'm glad he's on my side if I need him
Right,
for anything. Like,
right.
I'm staying on his good side in case I need
He
to
would
get
be
in a
another
fight.
one that would be great on a regulatory board.
Yes.
Yes, he would be.
What's crazy is you see him; he's this huge guy, and he's so soft spoken.
Yes, but and I don't think people understand how much. And I'm not saying the other companies haven't done this much, but how much research and time he spent into what he sells you as a product.
Oh, absolutely.
Like
or how much he listens to his customers.
If you get him talking about Reptichip,
it's awesome.
man, he goes into detail on like where it comes from and
I
the
love
people
it.
that farm it and how they get it,
Nice.
every little thing. And like JT or John Grant, the other JT in the chat says there's so many different types of Reptichip now. Like I've used the baby stuff for some of like my rubber boas because it's smaller, and it's like little tiny cubes and it's easier for them to dig through. But yes, so I saw that video and I knew where it was going to go because I kind of knew who the guy supported prior to the video, so I was like, he's probably going to support those too, even though he's going to try and say he's going to be whatever. But
that's why I don't watch Reptile YouTube.
but I support Reptichip because not only because it's a great product and a great person owns it, but JT also supports the hobby, which again is why he would be a great one to help push for things in the hobby. So I watched that on YouTube. I thought I'd mention that. I posted a video from US Arc that Garrett Hartle did about the victory we had. They posted on their US Arc YouTube. If y'all haven't subscribed to it, go subscribe to the US Arc YouTube. And like I said before, it's important to do that kind of stuff so they have those numbers to show when they go to these meetings. They go, look, this is our hobby. This is how many people support US Arc, and they can kind of get an idea of how big the hobby is. So go do that. But what have you seen on Facebook lately? Any fun stuff on Facebook lately, Robert?
I read a couple of them earlier. About,
Derek, have you seen anything that's made you just go
I got some.
either good or
something.
bad?
A pharmacist recommended I use meat tenderizer made into a paste to pull out bee venom. In an emergency, would this help on a snake bite?
Whoa.
Meat tenderizer or a taser?
Hold on, I'm getting.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Dr. Green just responded, no.
Perfect.
And then someone in the same, like these are like one post after the other in National Snake Bite Sport. Question: we frequently go prospecting in the Arizona desert, miles from cell service and hospitals. We were told that a low voltage taser would neutralize rattlesnake venom. Is there any merit to using one?
Wow.
Well,
Take a video.
there's no such thing as a low voltage taser.
Take a video, or it doesn't happen. I need a video.
Right.
of
Then,
the proof.
we could sell it and pay for your treatment.
Yeah.
I think Dr. Green said no. And not only will you have a rattlesnake bite, you'll also have a taser burn.
Yep.
Mhm.
You may pass out in the desert from the
Yeah.
taser and then just
And
die
then
from a
die.
rattlesnake bite. I was one video that just got posted. For anybody that watches, I watch Snake Discovery because it's me and then every other 10-year-old on earth. But they did a cage build last year, which was really fun to watch. It was several YouTubers that came there. Several YouTubers that I actually like. It wasn't some of the ones that we can't stand. And they did a cage build, and I think Garrett Hartle won with an amazing like rat snake themed one. He did like a barn.
Nice.
I have one.
Well,
go ahead.
But he did like a really cool barn setup inside there, and it was made for rat snakes, so it would climb up stuff. But they're doing it again, and the first part of that build off actually just dropped 4 minutes ago. So anybody that is listening, you can go and watch the new build, which is really cool to watch them do these big, elaborate builds and then judge them and all.
So speaking of bedding, has anybody heard of airlight bedding?
Oh my God, is that the?
It is shredded pieces
This is
of
what
cardboard.
You showed me.
It's fucking like it's got printed stuff and written stuff on it. It's
And they're like,
So it's
it's
like
cornstarch
recycled?
based ink. No, it's not. That shit's written in Chinese.
dumpster dived and found cardboard.
Yeah, and literally they're selling it for $13 a bag.
Wow. And he's like, it's super
It's
absorbent.
great for rats, snakes, horses, chickens, hamsters. Everyone needs to be using this. Is what this girl's. And then she's like, I don't work for them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, yeah, you do. And I mean, she was like arguing.
She's right. She doesn't work for them because it's not an actual fucking business.
My friend Reed McClure, who's a biologist, a herpetologist, and knows his shit. Got into a debate with her about it, and she was like, "Oh, it wicks all of the urine to the bottom of the tub. Yeah, so all the ammonia can gather in one place. Cool." All right. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's literally. I'll send you a screenshot, Derek. It is. It is chunks of cardboard,
and like you can see the
That is
writing and the
hilarious.
printing on. Like it's straight up dumpster dived and then cut cardboard boxes into little tiny squares.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. You go to their website and it's a dumpster fire.
Fucking cracks me up.
Yeah.
There was something that I saw on Facebook, and I'm currently scrolling through Facebook to see if I can find it because I wanted to talk about it.
Oh, the guy who posted my West African Gaboon Viper, Hannibal, and it's a Rhino Viper.
I saw that one.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, "That's a rhino." What was the
And
girlfriend?
then he wanted to argue with them. He goes,
Boy.
oh no, it's East African, and
It was. I think it was that one was the one where the girlfriend ordered
it for him
from one of the places
From
in Florida,
Underground
from
Reptiles.
underground
Mm-hmm.
as a Gaboon.
as a gaboon, and it's most. Now it is the butt fucking ugliest
Rhino
rhino
Viper
viper I've
I've
ever
ever
seen. Because I did have to look at it and go, well, maybe it. No, it's not. It's just fucking ugly. There's no color to it whatsoever.
I remember what it was.
But I'm like, that. I guess that's what happens when it's like when you order a gaboon viper off Wish. But I don't. It's. That's that again. That should be regulated.
Yep.
The random person probably should not have been able to order a gaboon viper off the internet from underground.
Yeah. Also, be wary of who you get your animals from. Not
Yeah.
talking anything against underground, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure, that's 100%.
Yeah, okay,
That's
yeah,
that's
yeah,
100%.
I found the video.
Oh, that's in our group.
It's in the reptile. I couldn't remember because Nathan and I are friends outside of the group, and so sometimes he'll post stuff on his page that he doesn't put in the group, and so I'll go and like share it in the group. But this was in the group, which is why I couldn't find it a minute ago.
Well, they're making omelets with little baby alligators.
This gives me anxiety to watch this video. First of all, like I can't. This, I guess it's a woman. I don't actually know.
It looks like some
She
sort
is-
of crocodile farm in like Indonesia or somewhere in Asia.
The eggs have. What did you say? Were pipped.
They've pipped. You can see little holes on top of them.
This
Oh,
person is picking them up. Literally, like you would crack an egg
Against
for
the side
a
of the
cake
tub.
on the side of the tub that they're in, popping off the top and squeezing out this baby.
Yeah, she's got scissors in one.
Cracking them using scissors.
No. She doesn't start
Holy
that until like after the first four.
So
The first four, she is literally knocking on the side of the container.
And you see the
they're doing it.
little crocodilian just hit the water like,
It's
what
just
the?
like,
And then little tub of- Now,
it gives
with
me
that said, as rough as that
anxiety.
seems, it obviously works because this is a place that farms crocodilians, you would imagine. So it's money to them. So
Yeah.
usually that stuff. But you do want to be like,
He posted
Can we
it
do
2
this a little
days
better?
ago, and it says, "Is it me, or is this just not how it is done?
It looks like
Cracking
this-
eggs and dropping them into shallow water. Babies look healthy, though. What's your opinion?
it looks like she's about to make an omelet every time. She's just like tap, tap.
It is stressing me out, is what it is. Like I cannot
It is rough. looking.
handle it.
Insane. What a way
Oh,
to be brought into the world.
God.
Holy shit.
well, like, and our daughter watched it with me the first time, and she's like, she just banged that egg on the side of the container like it was nothing. Like, so there's a lot of them where she takes her scissors and she like knocks the egg and then pops off the end, and I'm like, okay, you're cracking the egg
But it's
that
the
way.
knocking the egg part
But
that I
when
don't fully
she
get.
Bangs it on the side of the container to legit crack it. I just
Well, the other thing
can't.
is like if you've ever, they're not hard egg. It's not like a chicken egg.
Yeah,
It's not-
exactly.
they don't crack like a chicken egg. They're leathery.
Stresses
See, John Grant shouldn't talk shit.
out.
Let Diaz just hit a grand slam.
Oh my Lord. I figured it was something baseball because you were looking at your phone and then you just had this.
There was another post in our group that was really interesting. They found on Sanibel Beach a half hawksbill, half loggerhead turtle.
Yeah, I saw that.
They found a hybrid sea turtle.
That's pretty freaking
That's-
cool.
That's so Florida.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
glad that you said the sea turtle. Oh, who was it that shared that?
Galveston just had the. I didn't even read the story. It just said one of the more rare turtles.
So
I'll
there's a
find it.
sea turtle. I don't think it was in Texas, but when it hatched, the group noticed as it was moving to the water that the bottom half of the turtle was albino.
Oh, I saw that little baby.
And the
Where it's white.
flippers were not developed properly.
Yeah,
I don't
They called it
remember.
albino, but it's pied.
it's pie.
Correct.
I saw that on something. I did see that too.
Somebody, yeah, it's not in our group though. But the video that Robert shared of the tortoise backing up to the water
Sulcata
hose,
using the water hose to scratch its back.
it's
Yeah.
fabulous.
Nice.
Ours do that.
So I made I love, and if anybody realizes, I like making memes, but I love when I make a meme and then I realize it gets shared on like 5 million different groups. I made one making fun of ball pythons.
Yes, you did.
And
I saw that one.
yeah, it's 6 different pythons, and they're all just like different species of python, and I just have them all as the ball python. Yeah,
It was a Kim's Ridley sea turtle that laid eggs in Galveston.
oh, that's cool.
Which is the most endangered, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So they dug them up and they're incubating them at
Cool.
the Sea Turtle Center there.
But yeah, on here I have a normal ball python, and then I have a fat ball python, which is just a blood python. I have a bumpy ball python, which is an Angolan python, which Angolan python people hate when you call it a ball python. I have the jumbo ball python, which is a Burmese ball python, or a Burmese python. I have a tree ball python, which is a green tree. And then I have a venomous ball python, which is a Gaboon Viper.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, when he sent that to us, I was like, you definitely need to share that one.
Yes, that's amazing.
Because to anybody like not in the hot, when they go, look at all these ball pythons when they walk into a reptile show. And that's why I have you walk up to me before when I had boas on the table. Go, are these retics? Go the fuck away. I just need to just go.
We had a slow week on our. There wasn't a whole lot of stuff that posted this week.
It was a slow week.
Everybody's just exhausted by the world right now.
No
Yeah.
kidding.
People that have children going
Like-
back to school.
I don't
Yeah.
even want, like, when I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I just don't even want to fucking I don't want to leave the house. I'm just tired of the world.
Uh-huh.
And it seems like everybody's at that point. We're just all exhausted with everything.
Did y'all see the painting of the that Travis posted of the snapping turtle? If it was also part beetle,
Yeah.
it had like wings. Just imagine a 100-pound snapping turtle like a fly. Fucking horrifying.
See, Hardin County Herbs.
Oh, yeah,
They saw it
Hardin County-
somewhere.
So you know what meme I find?
They're not even on Facebook.
I made a meme years ago, and I still find it pop up every now and then. It's the one where it says, it's like me shopping at a reptile show or whatever, but it's like the line comes in and then it just goes up and down each aisle, back and forth, all over the place.
Oh yeah,
I
know
made
which one
that
you're
years ago, and
talking
everything
about.
that pops up, I'm like, hey, I made that.
That was before you started like putting a logo on the bottom of
Yes,
the meme.
so I could be like, hey, that's mine.
Mhm. Yeah.
But anyways, one other thing I wanted to start doing. So I'm gonna try and to randomly just go find cool reptiles, like one cool reptile each week on Morph Market, just because there's some cool things on there. If you ever get bored, don't just go to the same page. Like some people, if you're a ball python person, just go to ball pythons. Go to like the other python, not like carpet, but like literally the other python, or
python.
other lizard, or other
Yeah.
boa, and check out some of that stuff because there's some really cool stuff there. But I figured I would do this one since they're our sponsor this month for our giveaway. I went and checked out Colossal Constrictors on Morph Market, which you can, and they have this amazing looking Hypo Jungle Het VPI boa with this great stripe and super clean body. Of course, it's VPI albino, so it doesn't do me any fucking good because that happens every time. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be an amazing hypo, yada yada, and then it's VPI and not call, and I'm like, I can't use that. But speaking of call, and I haven't finished listening to it, Justin and why did my brain just go blank?
Tim.
No, Snakes and Stogies.
Phil.
Phil,
Yeah.
Justin and Phil, they had Peter Call on, and
And
I've
Tim
only
Morris.
yeah, and Tim Morris. I've only listened to the first half, and the Peter Call stories are fucking insane.
I bet.
I need
It's
to
all
catch up
like
on that one.
he's like, yeah, I tore up lots of hotel rooms, and it's just stories like shit he did in hotel rooms and shit he did while he was drunk, and then they talk about how like he went and spent $25,000 on the first albino boa. And, like, he goes, flies over to look at it. They're supposedly had 3 males. He sees 2 males, one that's blind, one with swollen hemipenes, and they don't have the third one there. And he goes, well, I don't want these. Because I want the third one. And the guy's like, yeah, it's somewhere else. I have to go get it. He goes, all right. And he took his bag of $25,000. I was like, I'm gone. And he goes, wait, well, I'll go get it. And so they went and got it. And then he just mails it back over to Maryland, where Tracy Barker was at the time, and doesn't like call Tracy afterwards, check on it. And Tracy's like, you didn't call to check on this? He's like, well, because how is it? She goes, it's fine. But it's a $25,000. They just
He knows in good hands with
it's
Tracy.
fine.
Yes.
Insane. Oh man.
How funny.
Or like he talks about how he got the first pieds. He got them from Tracy. Like they were hers on loan from what is the ball python guy out of Africa that's got a big name. He's
Boy.
he was a big exporter. Noah.
I'm not sure.
Anyways, they were on loan from them, and then he wanted to sell them, and they were Tracy's, and Tracy ended up like, no, you can have them. So that's how he ended up with those. He bought those. He talks about it's interesting stories about some of these first snakes that now are super common that he got, or like so the Sharp albino, which is Brian Sharp, bought albino boa, and he had a het from Peter, a het albino, and he bred them together, and nothing fucking happened. And that's how they realized that sharp is not the same thing as Colin. He's like, fuck. It's like I bred this together and I got nothing.
But he got normals.
Got all normals.
Yeah.
That were now a het for both. Yeah. So Victor said, so yeah, it was Noah. But
Nice.
yeah, so some of the story, like I'm only halfway through it. And like, these are crazy stories, and like, most of them are Peter Call being drunk. That's how most of them went.
Fantastic.
So I would definitely go over and give that a listen if you want to hear some of the older stories. Some of the older stories are from those guys. Or
Oh, they're incredible. So entertaining.
yeah, because Peter Call was definitely one of those ones that when we talked about before, like the guys that were rock stars in the hop. Yeah, it was him. He was one of those guys. But he also talks in there about inclusion by disorder, how they first got that, and how like he killed a bunch of really expensive snakes because he tried to get IBD out of his collection, and he did. But
Sucks.
they talked about, I remember getting into the hobby with boas. Everybody freaked out. It's like stargazing. Like, oh no, my snake is stargazing. But like sometimes, and he talks about it in the podcast. Sometimes boas just stare up. Like that's not stargazing. Just Katie walked in the other day, and my snow boa was just staring up at the top of the cage.
Because they're still in my closet.
She's like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "She's fine."
She was just like,
mine does it all the time.
well, and then like right before that, she decided to crawl underneath the paper that we have in the bottom of and I'm like, the hell are you doing under there? She's just a weird ass snake. She's also the one that like I will walk in and because it's the closet, so I'll like hang up clothes or get the empty hangers to take to the laundry room. And I turn to go out the door, I hear thud. And I'm like, I turn around and she's just staring at me. I'm like,
she's not a
what's
fan
wrong
of people.
with you?
But
Nice.
both those boas in there are not really
God.
big fans of people.
The one on the bottom doesn't bother me.
Our
She
big
never
doom struck at
moves.
Rachel through the glass the other night.
Oh, really?
First time it was
That
the day
bitch
before
on
feeding
top.
day. So she was hungry. But yeah, Rachel was cleaning it because we had company coming over. She was like cleaning the front of it right there.
Yeah.
And it didn't need it, but she was doing it. And I guess she saw the rag and was like, oh, that's warm and moving. I'm going to bite it.
John Grant says that big motley I have is a sweetheart. That's the one that tried to eat him as soon as it took it out of the bag. I got both those snakes at a show, and I was like, I really want to see, because they came to me in the bag.
Is that the one on the bottom?
Yeah, I was like, I really want to see these. But I was like, John Grant will take them out of the bag and not worry about getting bit. So I took them over to him, and sure enough, it tried to bite him as soon as he got out of the bag.
she does. She could care less.
No, you haven't taken her out. You haven't taken her out of the cage.
Really?
She's not a fan.
Oh, she does not care at all when I come in the closet.
She cares when you take her out of the cage.
But the one on top,
She cares.
is that the albino?
That's a snow.
Snow, she can't stand it when people are in that room.
By people, you mean you?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, she wasn't a fan of me.
Does she strike at you when you go in there?
Not really.
Looks like Bandit.
Stupid snake.
Our beauty. He hates me, but he loves every other person in the world. So
My snow did yank down her heat panel. I had to put that up yesterday.
Yeah, that scared me too. Because I came home for lunch and was like, what is happening?
what is she in?
She's in one of those.
Oh, that's right. I got you at this cages.
But somehow
In, like the big cage.
she pulled the heat panel. There's that much cord sticking. Like there's like an inch of cord sticking out to pour it out of the cage. I don't know how she got enough of it down, but it was also like drywall screws and not regular. Like I got screws with some smaller threads. They have a little more of a grip in there, and so
John Grant said, but he's a ninja and she didn't bite me. A fat ninja.
John Grant is a fat ninja. He's a great white hope. All right.
It's getting late.
It is. So let's see. Derek,
I've been in
if
bed.
people
You
want
got to remember, he's an hour later than we
that's
are.
true. If people want to get a hold of you, Derek, how can they get a hold of you?
Absolutely. Instagram is my social media platform of choice. You can hit me up. It's at apex.arboreals. And then if you want to know more about my personal stuff, Crotalis Cowboy, or if you want to be friends on Facebook, that's cool too. Derek Dykstra. No relation to Lenny. I saw someone ask that earlier.
I did see that.
Paul just aged himself when he did that.
But yeah, so that's me. If you want to get a hold of me, I'm always happy to chat, whether it's venomous reptiles or anything else. So
cool. Robert,
yeah, man.
Want to get a rack or a cage from you?
LSReptileRex.com.
Yeah, come to a show soon. Get one from them. Don't forget, again, a couple things. Our giveaway this month being sponsored by Colossal Constrictors. They're giving away the Red Line Science cleaning scrapers. And again, I know it doesn't sound fascinating, but you get them. They are amazing for cleaning shit out of the corners of tubs. That is one of the best things.
That's another one of those things that JT Tomlinson kind of brought to the world.
Yeah, he brought them out and so he sells those too.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. All you gotta do is go over to our page and tell us what is your favorite tool in your snake room. Derek, what's your favorite tool in your snake room that you use? Or favorite thing you have in your snake room that you use?
Probably my humidifier. Believe it or not, even though I'm in Florida,
You need a humidifier. You live in a swamp,
dude. It gets dry as hell in this room, so I rely on this thing like crazy, and it saves my ass because I've had some really bad sheds on some animals I shouldn't be getting bad sheds from. So that's number one. Number two are my L hooks. I love my L hooks.
What are they?
They are these bad boys.
Ah, yes.
I prefer the L to the standard snake hook, but that's just me.
Yes.
Who makes that one?
That's a Stony.
That's what I thought. As soon as I saw the polycarbonate, I was like,
Yep.
You know, he's like 10 minutes from my shop.
No way.
Yeah, I could
That's
go over
awesome.
there and pick stuff up. He's told me a million times, just come by.
I love
That's
his
cool.
tongs. Stoney's
Yeah.
tongs are like one of my favorites things that
Mhm.
I own. Pump sprayers were a big one on several people that commented. They
Oh
really,
yeah.
like the 1 gallon pump sprayers come in super handy for them.
Mhm.
Have you used? Well, you don't ever go in the snake room. I like the tub opening thing that.
Yeah, we bought one from Brent
Yeah.
from Venom Life
Venom
Yeah.
Life.
at Lafayette.
That's true.
Year and
That
a
would
half
come in
ago.
handy for you, Derek, if you have any. I don't know how many tubs you have,
Yes.
But yeah, I use it. We use it.
but it's even good for like non. It would be good for me if like if I was feeding for like my Louisiana pine because
You know what I saw the other day?
Excited.
It was probably one of the most toxic things I have seen as far as a reptile post is someone made a post about ball python, someone with ball pythons using a hook. And it devolved into every bro keeper saying, if you have to use a ball python, a hook for a ball python, you shouldn't keep them. You shouldn't be. And I'm like,
Some of those
just
ball
let people do what the
pythons
fuck
get
they want,
big.
man.
Yeah,
Well, it's
seriously.
Like I've seen some pretty big ball pythons.
Well,
I ain't
right.
reaching in and picking them up.
what's funny, that used to be even a bigger issue when I first got into reptiles. That because reptiles used to be a status symbol thing. So yeah, I don't mind picking things up and getting bit. And so I remember in like the forum days, people if they ever saw a hook or something, they'd bitch about it. I'm like, it's not your fucking snake. That's why when Sean Gray wants to make fun of me wearing gloves for everything, I'm like, they're not your hands. I don't care. I'm not embarrassed. I'll wear gloves. I'll wear gloves to pick up anything.
I love you, babe.
I'm not getting
Yeah,
bit.
if you want to compare dicks, we can. But my freaking
We
snake
can
hook.
compare dicks, and if mine's smaller, I still don't care because you're not fucking with it.
Right, exactly. So,
But
all right.
That's so
again,
weird.
our giveaway. Go over there, tell us what you like. If you want to save 15% on Viv Tech products, again, the code is Gumbo22. Go order your Viv Tech Lite or a meter so you can measure the UV coming out of your bulbs. Although if you're getting a Viv Tech Lite, it's gonna be like that for 4 years or more, so you're good. Next week we will not have a live show. So everybody listening, we're not gonna have a live show. We are going to play a recording from the Corpus show. I'm gonna do several recordings at the Corpus show.
But if you do, go ahead, finish.
Do several recordings at the Corpus show, and I'm gonna release those. Some of those next week.
But if you are one of those people that believe in the power of prayer, or if you believe in putting good vibes out in the world, it will be the night before our daughter starts middle school
Right before I deal
and
with
the
freshmen.
night before he has freshmen.
Ooh.
And I don't have kids till the Thursday.
Yeah, okay.
So keep us in your thoughts next
Also,
week.
anybody listening, I think if anybody wants to, I kind of want to go to Arlington for us to record there.
When is that again?
September something.
It's the 24th.
Oh,
and 25th, I think.
oh.
But I was thinking,
Rachel's
I had
40th
someone
birthday
once
weekend.
offer, and I don't remember who it was. I felt bad, but someone once offered to sponsor us for a show. What?
I can't go that
Why?
weekend. I have to go to Louisiana for something.
For what? Well, I still want to go. But to
You can
sponsor us to do a show, and if anybody wants to hop on the boat to sponsor us to get a table there and help us out, because again, teachers, we don't have lots of money. But I'm just throwing that out there. You never know unless you ask. That's if you want to get a hold of us. It is the Reptile Gumbo Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, at gmail.com. We will be back live in 2 weeks. It'll be on a Wednesday.
Mhm.
That in 2 weeks it'll be on a Wednesday because we have stuff with our
We are
daughter.
double committed that
Yeah,
night.
we got stuff for our daughter for school and stuff. But that guest that we have will be very entertaining. Put it that way.
That's a good way.
Some of you may know them. He is getting back into being kind of public in the hobby. So he's a very entertaining person. So that'll be in 2 weeks. So tune in on that Wednesday. Derek, hang out. But thanks for coming on. Thanks everybody for watching. And good night.